Today, XRL Veloce will be joining us, but for right now, that's not going to be the case. So you're just going to have to stand by and wait. We're going to get underway very shortly here with qualifying. Earlier today in the dev race, 19 drivers went in, only 12 left Q1, and in the end, only 10 drivers finished that race. So this circuit has already racked up a very high repair bill for the XRL drivers in the lower tier. Now that we get to the realistic tier, longer races, more realistic cars, we're curious as to what's going to be like there. Also, there's a lot of things up in the air regarding the championship fight. Mr. Anderson, for a long time, looked like he wasn't going to be able to show up to today's race. That changed in literally the last hour before the event. He was going to end up making it. However, he has gone through a name change. He's now known as XRL Matrix. So the guy who was supposed to break us out of the Matrix has now just basically become part of the Matrix. It's a horrible downgrade. Very sad. Many such stories. For now, we just wait to see who's going to be the first one to get out onto the race circuit. Looks like it will be the AlphaTauri of Alfa Romero of Mr. Worsen, who's going to be the first one to try and get out onto the circuit. For whatever reason, the camera angles aren't changing to show him in any way except for the onboard right now. Now you can see a McLaren coming out. That's XRL Raptor who's coming onto the circuit. He's going to be joined shortly afterwards by this man here, Collie Boy. There we are. Now we finally have some other camera angles. Ryan Hurricane, Gabo have both come out to the circuit, as has A. Waddington. Frisbee, the only Haas driver who has earned points thus far. Oh, and there's been an instant right out really early on. That's XRL Raptor, who has had a spin there coming out of turn number 5. The entire front wing seems to have been ripped off the car. And more pain and trouble for the McLaren team. But as I was saying, the only driver who's been able to earn points for the Haas team, XRL Frisbee, is not able to show up and make it for today's race. The wheel that he uses to steer in these games has completely died on him over the last 24 hours. He will not be able to make today's race. So with that in mind, he has now been limited to not starting this race and may not be able to start the next few weeks' events. And for the Haas team in the Manufacturers Championship, that will put a bad dampener for them. They are still dead last in that hunt. Waddington, one of the Haas drivers, we're going to ride silent and run on board with Waddington for a full lap here around Australia to see what it's like. And a massive accident, and that's it. Waddington is out. 'Cause a tremendous accident here at Australia. And the problem's already beginning for Waddington. Meanwhile, at the top of the timesheets, that's Mr. Worsen at the top of the 124.159. He's taken advantage of the fact that he was able to get onto circuit very quickly in order to set this time. All right, and coming into the party right now is A. Waddington. Waddington, go ahead and include your audio. Massive accident. What happened there?
I just tried pushing too hard. I should have really just set a blanker. I tried pushing too hard, got on the grass, and back instead that. I mean, I'm just a passenger at that point. No one could do.
It was a massive incident, obviously, and this means you're going to be relegated to a last place starting position. The real question is, do you think you can rebound and bring home points for the Haas team?
I'll do my best. It's a wet race all the way through. I think it's into the way through, so hope can happen.
All right, well, thanks for being willing to jump in and talk with us.
No problem.
Shame to see you out of qualifying that shortly.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, there has been another driver that is XRL 19, formerly known as XRL Ledger, has had a spin of his own in the middle of his flying lap, so he will set a 135.929. But we're now going to go ahead and change gears. The Collie Boy now goes to the top of the 123.816. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and spin a lap on board with XRL Raptor now to see what a lap is like with the McLaren. We weren't able to do it with the Haas. Maybe we can do it with the McLaren team. That was a lap on board with XRL Raptor, but now we're going to go ahead and try to reach out to talk with Lowe for a moment here. Xbox is giving me pain, so I have to manually type in every single person's names when I try to search for them, and it's really making things a pain in the rear right now. But we did not see what happened that took Lowe out of this qualifying session here. And now Beastian has been disqualified as well after being spun on the racetrack, and that's not going to help him whatsoever, so we're going to try and reach out to him as well. And that's Fletch! No, that's Smoothie, I'm sorry. That's Smoothie who's just pulled over. All right, and coming to the party now is XRL Lowe. Lowe, go ahead, include your audio. We did not see what happened, but it looked like a big incident. What happened?
Well, we just started off the lap very well. Got P1. It was pretty insane of a lap, to be honest. This car is not easy to drive, so that was an insane lap, to be honest. But what happened was after the lap, I went a little bit too hard. I think it's in the S section in the second sector, or just beginning of the third sector, I believe. And yeah, just I shouldn't be saying this on stream, but I turned off I kept the battery on instead of turning it off during that sector, and that was the reason of the crash. So definitely got to learn from that. Try not to. I tried to go a little bit faster than what I just previously put down. So yeah, pretty disappointed right now. I'm gonna start in the back of the grid for sure during this rain race. So yeah. Here we go.
All right, well, Lo, you've been very vocal about the fact that you feel that the move that took you out of the Ferrari and put you into the Alpine has had a significant negative effect on you. Despite the fact you've been able to bring home a few very good points-paying finishes with the Alpine, do you think a track like this, with a wet weather racetrack, you can make your way up through the field on pure skill alone, or do you think that the Alpine will continue to hamper your ability to move forward?
No, I just previous to the entering the qualifying, I actually did a 58 lap race on realistic and found out where the flaws were in the car, and definitely exploited them and set up the car correctly for this race. So the car has been set up right. I should have no excuse not to run a good race. The car is set up for dry. So, though I did add some rear aero for the rain, that's going to happen during the race. But I'm thinking I can make it up the field if there has to be maybe one safety car at one point to help me. But it really depends on what's going to happen. I feel like there's going to be a few people that are going to spin out and crash. So you got to be aware of what's in front of you. So let's just. My main focus is keeping the wing clean, and I should be able to, hopefully get into the points by the end of the race. Right? That's the main goal.
All right. Well, it's a laudable goal. Good luck on trying to make it, mate.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite, and hopefully get some points for me and my teammate.
All right. Well, that's the word from XRL in the Alpine camp. Also, while the interview is going on, I want to go ahead and reintroduce XRL Veloce into the party. Veloce, co-commentator for XRL. Good to see you here with us. Well, we're only about 3/4 of the way through Q1 and already 4 DNFs right off the bat. This is not looking to be a very clean race, to say the least. I'm having no luck trying to get Fletch 2020 1390 into the party right now, so I would like to ask, would you be willing to try and do that? As X, you say X, which X? XRL 19, you mean? Yeah. And that just kind of goes to show the problem here. 2 of the drivers who have crashed out thus far had times that would have put them in the top 7 fastest, top 8 fastest thus far, and both of them had their instance while trying to push harder. We heard from Lowe's interview, he already had a good lap, but he tried pushing it too far, ended up ruining the car. Coming into the party now is Fletch 2020. Fletch, go ahead and include your audio. Accident out there takes you out of Q1. What happened? Alright, it's looking like it will be either a full wet weather race or at least a partially wet race. Do you think you can make your way up through the field from where you're starting? Alright, well, I do want to say thanks for being willing to jump in and talk with us. And another DNF, and with this in mind, we're now in a scenario where if Jess Fiend and Young can set lap times, they might be able to automatically advance, as Dave Ewart now has had an accident that has taken him out of qualifying. we only have 3 minutes and 3.5 minutes left in the session right now. And, yeah. Try to get Dave Ewart in here, please. I'm physically not able to invite anybody now all of a sudden. The way that I normally would invite people through Xbox is completely gone to crap now, so I'm not able to do it. Yeah. Zola has now crossed the line to begin another flying lap. He aborted his last one after he saw Dave Ewart's ruined car there in the 3rd DRS straight here. I think that's supposed to be top speed at the end of the fastest straight. I'm not 100% sure, but that's why I'd assume it is for. Alright. Well, we're now within the last 2.5 minutes of the session. XRL Torpedo and Davis John in the Ferrari camp have both set the 1st and 3rd fastest lap times, and now they are both retiring from the session. Focus right now is going to Ryan Hurricane, as Flavor has set down an extraordinary lap, 124.733, so now he looks like he's locked in nice and solidly into Q2, one of the best laps we've ever seen out of him. Now the focus is on Ryan Hurricane, XRL Fiend, and XRL Yun. Can those 3 drivers put down laps good enough to get into the top 15? Right now, Ryan Hurricane is on the outside looking in. Yun is in the middle of a lap. Fiend still on pit lane and has not yet made a move to come out onto the circuit. I believe I'm seeing one of the Alpines coming out of pit lane right now, but coming out of the final corner is XRL Yun, as he's now going to begin his flying lap. This will be pretty much his only serious shot at trying to do this here. There's a slow McLaren on the 2nd straightaway ahead of him. He's going to just have to hope that there's enough room. That's not going to be an issue. Yes, Fiend is on the track on an outlap right now, but he needs to make it to the start-finish line in time to get a proper flying lap going. For Ryan Hurricane, same thing. He needs to make it a start-finish line in time. With only a minute left in the session, I don't know if Ryan Hurricane or Fiend will be able to get laps in. Right now, we're watching XRL Yun in the Aston Martin as he's going through Sector 2 right now. He's past the DRS detection point, very nearly invalidated it there through one of the corners, but somehow the lap is still legal. It's relatively clear track ahead of him, and it looks like it's going to work out. As Fiend and Hurricane are now coming to the line, this will be their only chance to improve on their times. Yun, big trouble. He is not going to advance to the next round. His time was not even remotely competitive with a 125.148. So now the focus is on Ryan Hurricane and XRL Fiend. At the end of Sector 1, Hurricane's already up by over half a second. Ryan Hurricane coming into the final DRS straight. You can see on the camera back there, Fiend doing the same thing. Fiend has an accident, and Fiend's had an accident! A massive accident at that! Right there in the middle of the racing line. Thankfully, the session was already over, but Fiend, last week's winner in the X3 division, now with a massive incident here that will keep him out. So now the question is, can Ryan Hurricane make it in? Yes, he does, and he squeezes XRL Matrix, our points leader, out of qualifying Session 2 in the process. and it goes from bad to worse for your points leader. That was nuts. We had so many different DNFs and issues that it really has caused havoc. It looks like we're only going to have 12 drivers going into this round. We saw the exact, Veloce, you were there. We saw the exact same thing in the dev race. And I honestly thought we wouldn't have it here. I thought almost everyone would be able to make it to Q1 without issue. Only 12 drivers in Q2. I can hardly believe that's happened. Another thing to consider, though, is that the circuit is starting to become dark. The rain clouds that we know are going to be covering the track by the time the race itself begins are now starting to surround the circuit. I imagine for a lot of drivers, they're going to want to get out on track, try to get a lap in as soon as possible, just in case rain ends up having to fall later on in this session. Yeah, DRS was basically shut off. I think you were like the first or second person to get out on circuit in Q2 for Dev, and DRS was shut off before you even got to start your flying lap. It was honestly sad to watch because there was about 7 of you all just kind of ice skating it around just to try and save your cars. The fact that none of you guys ruined them in the process was honestly stunning. All right, so Collie Boy, the only driver on track who has the medium, well, one of 2 drivers on track who have the medium tires equipped, him and Mr. Worsen, everyone else with the softs. So I'm not sure if they don't know that the race is going to be starting in what is believed to be wet conditions or not. If they're betting on the race starting on a dry track, even then, the medium tires, it sounds like they can last about 24 laps from what I've heard earlier. In these realistic full-length race settings, I'm not 100% sure rain would stay off for that long. Well, right now, the circuit is still clean and green. And there are about a little bit more than half of the drivers right now. In fact, it looks like about 2/3 of everyone in Q2 are on track. But with all the chaos of very fast drivers getting their times disqualified and disavowed due to crashes, and we've just had a crash as well. Speaking of which, that's Mr. Worsen, who has had an incident there, and that car seems to be stopped right there on the exit of turn 1. Now he comes out of turn 2, but the entire front wing ripped off that Alfa Romeo. Right now, everyone with the exception of XRL 19, Smoothie 25, XRL Flavor, and Ryan Hurricane are on laps. And even there, Flavor is in the middle of an outlap right now. Flavor could be looking at another potential run in Q3. Very uncharacteristic for someone who normally doesn't do that good in qualifying. Now we see Zola coming down the line behind him, but Zola invalidated his lap, so it goes to Jacob to be the 5th driver to set a lap time. And boy, you weren't joking when you said that the difference between softs and mediums are massive. Gabo has the fastest time thus far, 1:23.899. Collie fastest on the mediums, 1:24.5. That's about 0.7 a second difference across the circuit. I mean, Q1 was basically more of a scenario of just survival, it seemed, than, you know, actually being fast. Alright, so now it goes to Zola and Flavor as XRL 19, Smoothie 25, Ryan Hurricane have yet to make an effort to come onto the track. Mr. Worsen attempted earlier, but crashed the car in the first corner. He was able to limp it back into the pit lane, as now trying to get that front wing repaired. Raptor has improved up to a 1:23.9. Here comes his teammate Zola coming down to the line. It's going to be a 23 time as a, no, 24, 1:24.258. So Zola not able to maximize in that time frame. Now we watch Flavor come to the line. Oh, but there's a Haas that's had an incident on the track right in front of him. He's going to have to avoid him. Jacob is right there on track. Flavor had to back way out of it coming onto the straight lane. So that lap's going to be compromised. And that's right at the start of the fastest straight here on the circuit. So, and it's around the start-finish lane start as well. So not only did it compromise that lap, it's going to compromise this lap as well. So realistically for Flavor, his best option would be to go ahead, abort this lap, come around, come into the pits, and fuel up again for another go at it. Unless he has enough fuel to go for multiple laps, but... All right, right now, Smoothie 25 and Ryan Hurricane have finally come on the circuit, and in the Alfa Romeo team, they have repaired Mr. Worsen's front wing. He is out on track, going to go for another shot at it. Ryan Hurricane crosses the line as the 9th driver set time. It will be a time. Oh, I'm sorry, never mind. I take that back. He is beginning his lap now. I got a little bit too excited there. He'll begin his lap now.
Yeah, I just included my video. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're not. Oh, oops. Oh well. At least we found out instead of someone else having to tell us. I have a brand new phone, so I'm totally blind right now. If something comes up in the Discord or something, I have no way to see it, and that coupled with Xbox acting up on me, it's literally just what this game gives me, and the few people I have in my friends list, you, and that's all I have realistically.
Fair enough. I just have my eyes and the phone and the connection, a decent connection, so... Smoothie's on mediums, so it'll be interesting to see what time he'll do. If I remember correctly though, the AlphaTauri this season has been very quick. Because of course Asda winning in Brazil, I believe, last time.
Indeed.
And who else was it? Was it Young? Was Young in the Alpha at one point? I don't remember. My knowledge.
In preseason, I think he had a run in. It's normally been Smoothie 25 and Ozda, and both of them have put on some great runs. But Ozda is only a partial reserve driver, and Smoothie, I think he's missed quite a few races. So they've had great runs in this car. It's honestly one of the best cars in the field, I'd argue, but it kind of doesn't matter because they're not in contention for anything championship-wise. Not driver's title, not manufacturer's title either, because it's just so infrequent that guys show up to get them points.
Fair enough, and Asda is now a tier 6 reserve as well, so he can no longer drive the AlphaTauri either. Which is a shame for him, as he would, well, he was very quick, wasn't he? Quite dominant in Brazil until
Indeed, came back from an accident on lap 10 from second, fell all the way out of the points, and without the help of safety cars, he pulled his way up through the entire field. and took the lead late in the event. He did have some safety cars late in the event to help bunch the field up, but he got himself back into a top 4 position without safety cars helping whatsoever. Collie Boy now goes to the top on the softs with a 123.410.
And Ryan is not on a lap at the moment. I think he might be on an in-lap, actually. Missed his lap, unfortunately. Now Worson's on a lap.
Yeah, he invalidated his last lap.
I believe he's the first car who complete their next lap, but it's now Jacobs on the out lap. And Ryan and 19 are coming into the pits and starting their laps respectively.
About a little less than halfway, actually closer to about a third of the way left through the session. As of now, Smoothie25 is on the bubble with a 124.8, with XRL 19 and Mr. Worson having yet to set lap times.
Yeah, Worson's pretty much matching flavor sectors at this point. Yeah, he's on the medium compounder tire, the yellow wool tire. So there will be a lot of time, and I would take this time with a grain of salt.
Raptor is out! And Raptor has had an incident! And that's right in front of his teammate Zola at that!
That is unfortunate for the McLaren team.
And Worson's time is not going to be fast enough right now to get him in. He needs to find more time. Going to try and get Raptor into the party real quickly now.
I've just invited him, yeah.
$19 in Sector 3 right now. All right, and coming into the party now is XRL Raptor. Raptor, you survived Q1. It does not look like you're going to survive Q2. What happened out there?
I just hooked the outside curb, brought the car around and slammed in. Thank you, ma'am. That'll be all she wrote.
It was a massive incident, to say the least. But the question that I have to ask, though, is we saw the same thing happen to your teammate Zola at the end of the last qualifying session, although he was able to advance. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Zola, it was someone else. But we've seen multiple different drivers have instances there. Is that kind of accident going to replicate itself under a wet weather racetrack?
I'm going to kind of harken back to the exhibition race we ran here at Australia earlier in the year. As you're well aware, I had problems in quality there as well, but it all seemed to wash out in the race, which also started out wet. So I don't think necessarily that I'm going to have much of an issue. It's just unfortunately the car in qualifying is just not performing how I expected to. I just need to make some adjustments and move forward.
All right, it's not been a great points day for you for the last few weeks. Do you think you can turn things around and rebound here, even on this wet racetrack, though?
Absolutely. I just need to get my head 100% in the game, and I think I'll be fine.
All right, well, good luck. One thing that will definitely be helping you with that, though, is that the points leader was squeezed out in Q1 and didn't even make it to Q2, so... Absolutely.
We'll just,
that's the word from...
we'll just see what happens.
All right. Well, that's the word from XRL Raptor. Raptor's been spending a lot of time when he's not been doing testing. He's been doing a lot of time setting up specialized spreadsheets, trying to gauge all the various drivers' performance over the course of a season. Jacob has run out of fuel, apparently, as he's going to come into the pit lane. But, yeah, Raptor has been spending a lot of time working on that. And he's been using that with the idea that later on in the season, officials, broadcasters, and everything like that would be able to kind of get a better gauge and a better reading as to who is performing and how well they're performing. And then moving forward, going into later XRL seasons, it could be used to kind of set up and compare drivers' ability and put them in their cars with a lot more smoothness than what we've currently had. But as it stands right now on the racetrack, only 2 cars in the middle of flying laps, Jabus John and Ryan Hurricane.
Yeah, I mean, the rating system, yeah, it's definitely a good rating system. I feel like there should be...
Oh, and Hurricane's had I'm sorry to cut you off, mate. Ryan Hurricane has just had an accident there in Sector 3. The entire front wing has been ripped off that car, but somehow he's still under power.
Yeah, I needn't apologize. I mean... someone spins, then you want to cover it as quickly as possible, right? I was just saying that it's definitely a good system Raptor has with ratings of each driver. The only thing I would probably tweak if I was doing it would be maybe adding an offset of the car they're in or something, just so we can see how well if they're outperforming their particular car or not.
Would be an interesting thing to try and do. The counterpoint to that, though, is that you never know when the next update to the game's going to come and rebalance or unbalance the cars again.
Yeah, but then you would just change the offset. So it's just an idea from another league that I'm in. So.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's definitely a very worthy idea, but yeah. All right, so right now, Raptor is the dividing line with Jacob on the bubble, and it's XRL Flavor and Mr. Worson trying to run him down. Smoothie 25 is on track right now.
Watson's not gonna beat his time.
So now it's all down to Flavor. Flavor's laps earlier were not good because they were compromised by Jacob spinning. So how much extra time can Flavor pick up here? It doesn't look like it's going to happen. It says he's down by 1.3 seconds right now.
Yep, no one. I think Smoothie might be able to improve. He's only 300ths down on his current lap, so maybe a little bit of time to find in the last sector, because the middle sector was that of Torpedo, so...
And Flavor's aborted, so that's it. The session is over. Only 9 drivers will advance to this next round.
Oh no, Smoothie's pitting. He could have improved, but he chooses to pit instead.
And the good news for Jacob is that once again, we will see a Haas making his way into the final round of qualifying. The question, though, of course, is going to be, will they be able to finish with their only point scorer this entire season, El Frisbee, not showing up for today's race?
Let's hope so. I'd love to see XRL Jacob do well. In fact, I'd love to see most drivers here do well. All of them. They all deserve. They're all quick drivers, obviously. They all deserve good results, but unfortunately, only one can win. So that shall be the best of the drivers.
Indeed, as we look at the top 9 who make it through, Collie Boy in the Mercedes, XRL Torpedo in the Ferrari, Ryan Hurricane in the Williams, Gabo 360 720 in the Alfa Romeo, XRL Zola in the McLaren, XRL 19 in the Williams, Jabus John in the Ferrari, Smoothie 25 in the AlphaTauri, and XRL Jacob in the Haas. They will all advance. The 3 drivers that will not advance will be XRL Raptor, XRL Flavor, and Mr. Worson.
It's a shame Worson validated his lap on softs near the end of the session. It would have been interesting to see what he could have done relative to the rest. He probably could have done a 20, maybe a 24-0, so he might have just got in if he'd actually done a lap on softs. That's just going off the tyre delta.
Yeah, and if he was able to put that kind of lap in, it would have been enough to squeeze XRL Jacob out. So I'm sure Jacob's thanking his lucky stars right now, because between Worson invalidating and then Raptor having his 2 best laps invalidated by Jacob sliding in front of him, and Raptor having crashed out, for all intents and purposes, Jacob didn't really look like he had the pace to make it into the final round of qualifying.
Yeah, it's surprisingly close between the top 9, though. Only 7, top 10 technically. Only 8 tenths of a second. So it could make for an interesting race. But then again, we don't know how these guys have adapted their setup. Some people might be running slightly better setups for wet conditions, and others might be running more towards the qualifying trim.
Mm-hmm. And one thing to consider is that if someone has a hybrid wet-dry setup or is still running a full dry setup and they survive to the end of the race where the rain might go away, they could all of a sudden come to life and start flying their way up through the grid.
They could if they don't crash first, because I know a dry setup is anywhere from the 7-9 wings up to 10-11 wings. So It's a big difference, because in the wet, you want to run max downforce, pretty much.
All right, well, of the 9 drivers on track, it looks like the first one to try and get onto the circuit in this final qualifying session is going to be XRL Torpedo in the Ferrari, and he'll be joined by Collie Boy in the Mercedes. And already I'm seeing more movement in pit lane. That looks like it's going to be Gabo 36720 coming onto the circuit, and he's going to be joined by XRL Jacob as well.
360. Why do you say? I just wonder. Why do you say the full number after Garbo's name?
I have no idea why.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, it's not like I even think consciously of doing it. It's just when I see his name, I automatically do it. Same thing as like there are some people who I've mispronounced or said their names wrong, or say their names differently than how it's supposed to be for a long time. Like with XRL XIX, I keep calling him XRL 19. So, because in Roman numerals, XIX is 19. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I need to ask him again if he wants me to actually call him XRL 19 or if he wants XRL XIX. And even at that, I'm not even 100% sure I'll properly remember. At the same time, like Smoothie 25, for all I know, that could actually be supposed to be Smooth Ethanol 25, for all I know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of commentators seem to have trouble with minor gaming tag as well. I've had people extend the E, extend the O, extend the E at the end. I've had people say Veloci, and I think you were.
I've done that a few times.
Veloci.
Yep, that was me.
I've had, but it wasn't just you. Apparently, Voce is a hard word to say unless you're Italian. So,
I mean, once you know what it's like, it's not hard to say it again and again and again. But yeah, it's not, if it's not part of the natural English dialect in your part of the world. Yeah, it's one of those things where you hear it and you're like,
yeah, I think it's the thing that throws people off is the che at the end, because in English we'll probably say veloci or something. Or
in English, the E would be silent.
yeah, probably veloc.
Well, Gabo came to a complete stop in Sector 3, then had a running start for his flying lap, and immediately invalidated in Sector 1, so it's not going very well for him right now.
That sounds like every one of my qualifying sessions ever on my first run.
Well, right now, the first 2 drivers that will be crossing the line by the looks of it will be XRL Torpedo and XRL Jacob. There's just enough of a gap between the two of them that there won't be any aerodynamic wake from the Haas affecting the Ferrari. So it should be all maximized here. Coming to the last 2 corners for both of them. Right on board Torpedo, you can faintly see that Haas ahead. And they will set the benchmark times that everyone else will be chasing. 1:24.511 followed right up by a 1:23.448. So that's a massive 1.1 second swing against the Haas's. I don't have very much confidence in Jacob starting anywhere better than 9th unless someone else crashes out.
I have confidence because he's Jacob and he did a better time than that in Q2, so definitely time to find that lap. Not just from what I think, but definitely probably from what he thinks as well.
Alright, well, I would definitely love to be proven wrong. I'm always amazed whenever I see somebody taking one of the SHIT boxes in the back of the grid and making something absolutely fantastic with them.
Yeah, but everyone in here is just too quick. So, yeah. No, not even the quickest driver could make a Haas quick. They get in this grid, so...
I mean, you say that, but Frisbee won the season opener at Montreal, so... in a Haas.
Okay, maybe Frisbee can... But he's Frisbee. Yeah, that's my excuse. He's Frisbee. He's not just the Frisbee, he is El Frisbee. Right?
El Frisbee. El Plan gives us El Frisbee.
El Frisbee. I don't know what Frisbee is. So.
Oh, it's a little disc that you take and you throw it, and it spins through the air and kind of glides and hovers on the air, and then eventually it will come down to Earth, or it will come down to your dog's mouth, or it will come down to your dad's kahunas, whichever one's the least convenient.
Sorry, are we talking about frisbees or UFOs? I can't tell.
Oh, no. The UFOs got their shape from frisbees. They went to Big Frisbee. When aliens first came to Earth using the Stargates, they talked to the Big Frisbee company, and Big Frisbee said, okay, well, you can make these great spaceships, and you can copy our design, but you have to be willing to pay us a big amount of money if anyone can ever prove that you exist first. So that's why aliens go out of the way to make sure they don't get found nowadays.
And that, my friends, is how copyright began.
Precisely. All right. Well, while we've been trash talking there, Ryan Hurricane set time 1:23.763. Gabo, another shot at trying to get a lap in. He invalidated it this time at the last corner, and he's basically out of fuel. It's going to be iffy if Gabo's even going to be able to get a proper lap in, because he's not been able to stay clean for an entire lap this entire time. Collie Boy in the middle of an outlap right now. XRL 19 and Jabus John are both in pit lane, have not yet come out onto the circuit to give it a try. 5 of our 9 drivers have set lap times at the moment, with Torpedo at the top. There we are. Gabo finally comes in the pit, so now the only car on track is that of Collie Boy in the Mercedes. Completely clear circuit around him, although if someone was going to, come out of pit lane right now, I'm sure it would very significantly disadvantage the Mercedes on a flying lap.
Yeah, the Mercedes. I don't know why I said that. Sorry, sometimes I say things and I'm like, why on earth did I say that? Well, it does look like there is a Williams in the shape of an XIX. Ooh, might get in the way a little bit.
Nope, he came almost to a dead stop on pit lane exit. That'll be nice enough for Collie Boy to get going. And 19's just close enough to get a little bit of a toe off of Collie Boy, going down the second DRS straight now.
Such a tricky...
I'm also seeing... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is such a tricky track to drive. Well, it's, tricky track to drive. I believe the game is easy, however. But because after the patch, they did change some of the curbs at several tracks, including Bahrain, China, and Australia. And it's also a very hard track to overtake at, so the drivers that did crash out not only will have the challenge of rain, but will also have the challenge that is Australia. Collie Boy making his way into the final section of corners on the track, looking to best Torpedo's 1:23.4. What time is it going to be? It's going to be at 1 minute 23.598, good enough for P2 in the time being. However, that is on a scrub set of softs, so perhaps a little bit off what he could do on a fresh set, and XX begins his hot lap.
Jabus, John, and Gabo have also gotten on circuit, and they're in the middle of outlaps right now. I do want to ask a little bit. I don't know if you were aware of this or not, but there have been, during the entire pandemic lockdown, there have been some reconfigurations done to a few corners on this circuit. They're adding a very small, not a lot, but a very small amount of banking to the first 2 corners. They're straightening it out a bit in Sector 2, so it'll be a lot faster, and you can follow a lot better through there. Do you think that will improve racing here at the circuit, as XRL 19 has just invalidated his lap?
I believe they're making near enough every corner on the track in the second half of the lap wider, so that will definitely help racing. adding the chicanes of 9 and 10, making it a flat-out chicane as opposed to fourth, fifth gear chicane. That'll definitely help the following, and will give you a better run into the 11-12 chicane, and then perhaps make a move into the widened turn 13, which is, I believe, is being made a little bit sharper, but a little bit wider as well. So, yeah, I think it will definitely improve the racing, because it'll be a bigger braking zone, and B, a faster run up to the DRS zone.
This layout of Australia, although it was not used in 2020 or 2021 due to obviously the pandemic, and probably is not going to get used in 2022 because the FAA can't make a decent calendar without making it excessively bloated. But this has been a long stay for Formula One. Australia in general has been a long stay for Formula One. Been on F1's calendar since I think 1978 or 79, I think is when F1 started coming here. And for this track particularly, it opened up in 1995. So, yeah, a very legendary, well, not legendary, but a circuit with a very well-earned reputation, to say the least.
And life has got a well-earned reputation of bullfests, to be honest. Season opener normally.
True.
And that is why it normally gets a lot of hype. But normally, we don't get much good racing into it because, well, you can't. Because a lot of braking zones are between 75 metres in modern F1 cars. And 75 metres isn't enough to send up the inside. Because to send up the inside, you need to have a fairly long braking zone.
Smoothie25 has jumped to the front. He's 300ths faster than Torpedo at the moment.
Torpedo is on the map though. Just coming out of the final corner now. I do think he is up a little bit. It's going to be a 1 minute 23.086,
yes,
which is a good lap. From
Collie Boy retires in the pit lane and time's up over Plow. 19 finally sets a lap time, 123.882, and that will relegate Jacob to 9th.
Smoothie is on a lap, however, he's about 800ths up. Not enough for pole, but apparently it was purple, so yeah, I hope Codemasters can fix 2020. I hope what Codemasters are doing is they're just not patching this game because they're trying to make sure the next game works, but I have a feeling that's not the case. Anyway, back to the race. Smoothie coming around the last corner now. It's going to be a 1 minute 23.320. It's not good enough for pole. Actually, I didn't realise, but G-Bus John has bitten in with the 1:23.206. That's a good time from, actually, Ferrari 1-2 for the start of the race.
Yep. Gabo also jumped up to 5th with the 123.6. But yeah, Ferrari's front row start here. There's very few things that make me happier than a Ferrari 1-2 start.
Like a McLaren 1-2
One of them would be a Ferrari
start?
victory. I've never cared much for McLaren. I don't hate McLaren, but I've never cared much for them.
I mean, McLaren were the first team this season to get a 1-2. So, yeah. Very good track Monza is for McLaren, obviously. Because, well, the best top speed at the temple of speed gets you miles, really.
Well, it's a Ferrari lockout on row 1, followed by Smoothie25 and Collie Boy in row 2, Gabo 360 and XRL Zola in row 3, Ryan Hurricane XRL 19 in row 4, XRL Jacob will start row 5, and it will be XRL Raptor, who did not advance to the final round qualifying, that will be wrapping up row 5 as well. Alright. This is where the fun begins, folks. About a 5-minute waiting period until we get underway for the race itself. Let me go get my computer so I can try real quickly and go through the point standings as they are right now.
I have the standings up.
Feel free.
Here. So leading is XRL Matrix on 90 points, and then John on 87, Smoothie 25 on 84, Torpedo on 70, XRL Raptor on 66, Ryan Hurricane on 63, XRL Low on 50, XRL Zola on 40, Level 6 Beating on 39, XRL Flavor on 26, Young Maneuver on 26, Worsen on 23, XRL Fiend on 18, L Frisbee on 14, XRL Edgar on 6, XRL 19 on 5, Dave, Goody Boy, PPR Venom, and XRL Ultimate all on 0. And in the Constructors' Championship is Ferrari Mission Winner on 169 points, Scuderia Alpha Tauri on 128, Aston Martin on 116, Williams Racing on 74, McLaren F1 team on 71, Red Bull Racing on 65, Alpine F1 team on 63, Alfa Romeo Racing Allren on 54, Mercedes AMG Petronas on 35, and finally Haas F1 on 32.
All right. Well, that's how it is right now. It's worth noting that with the way that everything changed at the end of our last race at Brazil. Wait a second.
Actually, that's Brazil. Well, that says after Mexico.
Yeah, that's after Mexico. Yeah, those standings haven't actually been updated yet. Well, okay, never mind then, I guess.
Oh well. Well, that's I guess we can just skip Brazil in terms of having an individual standings and go straight on to after Australia, which will be, well, I'm sure, a very thrilling and enticing Australian Grand Prix. Usually we do have
we have a lot of good strategy for XRL races here, just simply because of the massive amount of yellow flags caused by drivers crashing out here.
Yeah, we often see 4, 5, 6, 7 stops. So, but yeah, no. Usually from the 3 or 4 races that I've commentated on, there's one driver that kind of runs away with it for the first third of the race, and then there's a safety car. Then that brings everyone else back into it, and then there's a really good battle for like the lead or second place. And yeah, that battle.
And then normally the entire lineup gets screwed up anyways post-race because penalties get added then taken away also. There's probably been, unironically, I think it's probably been a rate of like 1 out of every 5 races I broadcast for XRL that I congratulate the winner on. The win gets stripped from them afterwards due to penalties either being added or removed.
I think penalty management should also be a stat on Raptor's spreadsheet. I think I'm just going to call them XRL spreadsheet.
It is actually.
Now.
It is actually. It is I think it's like the second or third category.
What I meant was like a different for 5 second and 10 second and drive-throughs and that. Just track limit penalties, because I have a feeling that well, it's always the driver's fault for a track limit penalty. However, for a 5-second penalty, it's not necessarily always their fault, because another driver could hit them at the safety car, another driver could just hit them, period. 10-second penalty, not particularly at this track, but somewhere like Portugal or Brazil, you can get 10-second penalties if you spin and you accidentally cut the track. Yeah, just a little idea.
Alright, well, we're preparing to get underway. Per usual, I'll just ask, would you be willing to put some focus on the rear of the grid while I focus on the front coming to the grid here?
Yeah, that's good, yeah. In fact, I think I'll watch
preparing to load onto the
Matrix.
circuit. Ooh, that will be interesting. Your championship contender. Try and make your way up to the field, but at the front, it's a Ferrari 1-2, James John and XRL Torpedo. As we see the lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out, away we go, and a horrible start for James John right off the bat. He is going to get swallowed up by the entire grid. 3, nearly 4 wide near the back of the field right now because of that nasty start. He has already dropped to 6th position. Might even lose that to Ryan Hurricane as well.
Yeah, I mean, Matrix had a bit of a wiggle on the start. Young has disconnected. Yeah, pretty average start for everyone. Like Waddington had an absolutely amazing start, going all the way up to P11 now, so he's just flying up the grid already. As Dave and Young go side by side, turn 5, now turn 6. Fiend following very closely behind Matrix, perhaps looking to make a move. As Matrix goes down the inside of XRL Raptor, and there's the two drivers off XRL Low and Waddo. So Waddo might be trying to hold it around the outside going into turn 10. Not quite, it looks like it's Low, Fiend down there.
Davison has recovered a bit from that poor start, but it has caused a massive knock-on effect. And a lot of drivers who had really, really decent or good starting positions have found themselves wiped out of that starting position at all. Low is down there in 13th. Raptor, who started 10th, is down there in 16th position. It's been an absolute travesty seeing the amount of drivers that have been screwed over due to someone else just having a poor start ahead of them.
Smooth is right on the back of Flavors on, well actually no, there's quite a big train here. You got Wallington on the back of Low, on the back of Fiend, on the back of Matrix, on the back of Smoothie, on the back of Flavor, on the back of XX, on the back of Wilson, on the back of Jacob, on the back of Ryan. So yeah, 6 down to 15.
Sounds like a giant dog pile. Are they trying to get the future people to leave or something?
maybe not. Well, it does look like Ryan, 19 is putting up a little bit of a gap.
Low pulls over on the main straightaway to let A. Waddington move by and take the 14th position. Very strange decision there. Matrix has recovered up to 12th and is trying to make a move against Smoothie 25 right now. They're coming through turns 3 and 4 around the outside. He puts the power down but cannot keep it in there. He'll actually leave himself open to attack from Fiend.
Yeah, this is going to be a very good battle to watch for the opening stages of the race. As that little battle between Smoothie and Matrix has allowed Flavor to pull out a 1.5 second gap. Who is himself closing up to the battle for 8th. Good start for the Red Bull driver, and he'll maintain a good position for the rest of the race.
Driver who's not in a good position though, Dave Ewart, the only driver to take damage at the start of the race. He is 30 seconds off pace right now, although with all the incidents that have happened, like Mr. Worson, who has had an incident there in Sector 3. And that is a virtual safety car, so not full course, but a virtual safety car, and the first DNF of the day will be Mr. Worson.
Right, start the tally chart, everyone. Because I have a feeling we're going to lose quite a few drivers as Beastian slows down to let Young go. I'm not sure what was happening there. But yeah, game saying it'll be a one-stop race, which it should be on these tyres. Waddo comes into the pits. I think he's going to be the only driver to pit. Yes, he is. Anyway, the big
Waddington in pit. Go ahead.
As I said, big winners from that. So XRL Fiend up 7 places in P12. XRL Matrix up 5 places, despite having a poor start. And the big loser of that start was Smoothie 25, down 7 positions in P10. So not the best of starts for the Upper Tower driver.
Well, we are now going back underway. Look at this little fight here. 3rd, 4th, 5th, all on top of each other right now as Davison trying to claw his way back up to the front where he belongs, but he's being held up by Gabo and Zola. Gabo got into the dirt just a little bit there. That leaves Javis thinking that he might be able to get alongside, but like you said earlier, the braking zones are not long enough. That's Collie Boy, our second place driver, has just spun off circuit all by himself. He's got back underway, but he's already fallen to 6th position now. 7th at that.
There's also a bit of battle for P10, sorry, between Fiend, Low, Smoothie 25 and Matrix. Matrix following very closely, about 5 tenths to the back of the AlphaTauri. Although he does have to defend from XRL Fiend, who is pushing him to the apex of that corner. I think he's trying, it's so hard to overtake in the wet around here. Well, it's just hard to overtake around here, period, let alone in the wet.
Matrix didn't have a great exit out of the final corner, and Fiend has a run on him going down into turn 1. So you may see a pure driver skill overtake going into turn 1. Heavy braking side by side. Matrix runs a little bit wide, but it looks like he might be able to defend the position. No, he will not. Fiend is better coming out of 2. Fiend moves up to 11th now.
Zola's very wide of 5 and into 6.
Oh, and contact! And Matrix made contact with Fiend! He's off circuit and will fall to 14th, 15th, might even fall to 16th position, and there might be damage on that left rear tire. It looks like it might have lost air in contact.
Fastest lap for Dave. I mean, it's just a shame he's got on his own. He does have a lift, well, he does have pace, but just got damaged, so he couldn't do much with it. And, well, we are starting to see that lead up all the way, like I was mentioning earlier. Now, we just have to wait for a safety car around lap 20. That's just a prediction, of course, I don't know. But there is a good battle going on for P2 still. As John tries to get around Gabro, they get very, very, very close into braking. And Torpedo will try to get a run maybe on the back straight with the DRS and the straight down speed. Maybe a little bit better than Alfa Romeo. Definitely not than the McLaren, but so as he get an exit off the last corner, he gets a decent exit, good exit actually for the car, but a little bit on the grass, so that caused him just to lose a little bit of time. And actually these three battling, it's about Ryan to catch up, bring Jacob with him.
Boy's not that far behind either. That's another 1.8 second gap until you get to XRL 19. And XRL Flavor, who's had a tremendous start to this race, and although he's not really keeping pace with the drivers ahead, no one behind is really closing on him. Smoothie is spending all his time holding off the Alpines of Fiend and Low behind him.
Battles up and down this field at the moment. One for second, one for 5th, one for, I believe the next battle will probably be for 10th. And then one for 12th and one for 15th, so... Yeah, looks like
Davis Don got a great run there on Gabo, but it's actually going to be Jacob who gets the overtake done on Hurricane behind. Gabo all over Zola. He's being held up by him, though. Now Davis Don has the opportunity to overtake the Alfa Romeo.
Oh, I think he did just touch him a little bit there. The Ferrari on the Alfa Romeo. He's not going to have a good run now down this mini back DRS straight. Well, DRS, if it was enabled.
Gabo gets right there behind Zola, but does not seem to have enough confidence with that car to actually make any sort of overtake happen. And because Gabo has to keep stepping off, it's letting Jabez John get right behind him. But John keeps catching Gabo in places that he's not able to make overtakes at. So then John has to let off, and that's backed up Jacob and Ryan Hurricane to them. Now we see Collie Boy trying to fight back as well to try and move up through the grid. Collie Boy now around the outside of Ryan Hurricane going down the second DRS straight. He'll make it stick. All this fighting, though, is making XRL Torpedo very happy. Nearly 7-second lead that he has right now over the rest of the field. Gabo once again right there within a third of a second of Zola, but there's no good overtaking opportunities at this point of the circuit. Realistically, with this heavy rain, the only good overtaking opportunities are on the main straightaway, or if you get an absolutely fantastic run going into Sector 3, but even then I wouldn't have a lot of confidence in trying to make a move there. This time, Jabez is a little bit closer to Gabo than Gabo is to Zola. But again, not in an open position where he can really make an overtake. Young Maneuver is now just... I'm sorry. XRL Matrix has just gotten a time penalty back there in 14th. That's not going to help him. As two championship contenders, Matrix and Raptor, both... Oh, God, Zola totally off throttle. And that backed up the entire grid from second all the way back to 8th there. If we had DRS, this would be an absolute nightmare for Zola, but no DRS means that he can be 5 seconds off pace. It doesn't matter. Just have a good exit out of the corners. You can defend to your heart's content.
I'll be honest, even with DRS, I don't think Alfa Romeo would stand much of a chance against the McLaren. Just the mighty top speed of the McLaren is absolutely ludicrous compared to the Alfa Romeo.
Well, you've got to give Gabo credit for staying right there underneath Zola's rear wing. The counterpoint to that, though, is that there's basically no way to actually make overtakes happen. The good news, there's one way to do it. Gabo gets right into Zola's rear wing, knocks him sideways. Here comes Jameson by Gabo. Here comes Jameson now. He's behind Zola. Gets a lot of speed coming around the outside. Gets the door shut on by the McLaren, though. Oh, and there's contact and someone's gone off there. Who is that? That's Collie Boy, who's made contact, damaged the front wing, and went way off circuit. I don't think he hit anybody else, but that's going to massively harm his race now.
That's unlucky for Collie Boy. I mean, that's his second win of the race from P2, I think it was. So he'll be kicking himself along with Gabo after making contact with the back of Zola, now dropping down to P5 where he started the race. And all this has meant that Jacob been able to get himself into fourth.
And now it's Davis John who has a chance to try and do something against Zola. John's been a little bit stronger today than Gabo, and he's got a good run coming out of the back straightaway, but the car is not straightened out enough that he can really do anything. The straight line speed of the McLaren is letting Zola hold on to that spot well enough. He could be having a horrible car, but it doesn't matter because straight line speed basically means everything right now here.
Yeah, what's the point in turning if you can't go as quick in the straight, right? Ooh, it does look like
Zola's
John's
just
very close to the back of Zola through turn 5 and into turn 6. Maybe looking for a move into turn 8, turn 9 territory, if he can get a good run off 7. He gets very close to the back of Zola. He's a little bit more curved than Zola does. He's able to keep going fairly well. Potentially extend down the side of this too. I don't know, he thinks about it, but doesn't go for it.
Yeah, even though you might be able to pull onside someone going into that corner, he's going to do it on the outside. He's got a run. He was alongside, but he was trapped on the outside. He's still faster than the McLaren right now, though. He's right there underneath. Where does he make a dive? He cannot. The track is just not wide enough or conducive for the Ferrari to get by the McLaren.
All this is allowing XRL Torpedo 10.7 seconds gap now. I'm sorry, I'm getting...
Oh, there's been an incident. That's Fiend. And he has gone through one of the braking boards there at the end of Sector 2, but it looks like he'll be able to continue without damage to that car.
Oh, that's unfortunate for the Alpine driver. XRL Torpedo, yes, another fast of that 38.725. Compared to the next fastest lap, which is 1 minute 39.1. So he's lapping at least 4/10 lap quicker than the rest of the field, which is crazy.
One other thing that's got to really be aggravating Jabus Don right now is that Zola has a time penalty, Jabus does not. But Jabus doesn't have to worry about trying to get that position. He knows he has that in the bag. The longer he's being held up by the McLaren, the less and less chance he has to fight with his teammate who's up there in the lead right now. It's got to be absolutely aggravating for him. And that's an instant by Collie Boy. Spin coming out of the final corner. Now will relegate Collie Boy to 19th now on track. Zola trying to hold off a Ferrari, a Haas, and an Alfa Romeo. So 3 different types of Ferrari-powered cars counting down on the Mercedes-powered McLaren. And there's really nothing you can do because the McLaren seems to have better straight-line speed than anyone else here. John way faster on corner entry, corner exit, but on the straights, here we are. Jabus alongside, to the inside, neck and neck. Barely sneaks by with no contact. Now it's Jacob's chance to try and get by the McLaren.
I have to pop to the business room. I'll be right back.
Ooh, Gabo really had to back out there. He was trapped behind Jacob, and in the process, XRL 19 nearly ran into the back of him. Already Jacob is down 8/10 ahead of Zola. Is there anything that Jacob can do to Zola? It does not look like it. The Haas is one of the slowest cars in a straight line compared to Zola, and the McLaren which is one of the fastest. Trying to see if he can get by Gabo as well for the 5th position. But he had to back out, and that's let Gabo open up a small gap. But because Zola continues to just compress the entire field behind, it really isn't going to matter. We're now seeing Ryan Hurricane in this battle, and XRL Flavor is closing in on this fight as well. Bad run to that straight by Gabo. That gives 19 a chance. And here we are, 19 around the outside of Gabo. But that's the longer way around. Can he make it sick going into the braking zone? Yes, he will, but just barely. So now Gabo has to fight with Ryan Hurricane to defend for 6th position. As Flavor and Smoothie 25 close in on this battle. Jacob right there behind Zola, but not able to find a way by. At least not yet. Bad run onto the main straightaway by Zola this time. This might be all that Jacob needs to get by. Not enough speed in the straight. But Zola, massive mistake there in turn 1 and 2. That forces Jacob to have to back out of it. Now here comes the rest of the field closing back in on the Haas. Jacob looks to the outside. Still not able to do anything, though. Smoothie gets by Flavor, though, for the 8th position now. Now leave Flavor up to attack from low over the next few laps. Only one virtual safety car thus far today. Ryan out the back of Zola's McLaren. You can see he gets just a good enough run onto the straightaways that although Jacob has a better entry onto the straight and has draft, the straights are not long enough, and with no DRS, there's just nothing that the Haas can even try to do to get by that McLaren. Although things might be changing soon because rain seems to be phasing out a bit, and I'm starting to see sun peek through the clouds at some parts of the track, so the track might dry out as this event goes on. But as of now, it's still very much a wet weather event. Haas continues to hang out right underneath the rear wing of that McLaren, and this basically is the accumulation of all the battles that we're seeing on the circuit right now. Basically everyone from 3rd on back to about 12th are all about within a second or less of each other because of this fight. Gabo gets a time penalty now, trying to keep up with 19, and Fletch has gotten another time penalty as well, trying to stay ahead of Matrix. Jacob has a good run down the straight, but again, it doesn't matter because good run, bad run doesn't matter. The McLaren's able to outpace the Haas. Dave Ewart's had an incident, though, that has dropped him behind Collie Boy, as earlier in this event, and has not been able to get back by him since. Matrix now gets by Fletch for the 11th position. But the bad news for Matrix is that Raptor has clean track ahead of him, no time penalties. He is closing. Raptor desperately trying to get back into the points, as is Matrix. Matrix, formerly known as Mr. Anderson, is trying to get more points to add to his championship lead. Two of his stronger championship rivals are reigning 1-2 right now, with another one reigning in 3rd. And another one in 10th. Zola, time penalty there in 3rd again, as he continues to run a very excessive defense against the Haas. Now the Williams tries to get by. He makes a mistake in the process. Gabo might be able to sneak back by 19 now. Can't get it done. Williams has better traction coming down. And this will leave Gabo potentially open to attack from the other Williams now. Or maybe not. No. Now we see Gabo in the Alfa Romeo has a run on 19. 19 moves over just a little bit to try and keep him from making a dive bomb into the corner. So now this group all fans out just a little bit more this time. Oh, Flavor! Into the wall. And that will drop him to 10th, maybe even 11th. And in the process, now we see XRL Matrix go back into the points-paying positions, as here comes Fletch to get by him, and he will likely be joined by Raptor afterwards. The Fletch makes a mistake trying to get by Flavor. So now Raptor takes 12th, and he'll set his sights on the Red Bull. He's got to run. He thinks better than to look to the inside right now, though. He knows it's a long race. And that once he gets by Flavor, he'll get plenty of clean air back on that car. He's not in too much of a rush yet. But farther up, Jacob within a 5th, within an 1/8 of a second of Zola, but cannot get alongside him at any point on this racetrack. Raptor now gets around alongside the outside of Flavor, on the inside. Flavor really is not able to defend, so now Fletch will also get his chance to get by the Red Bull, and Jacob's gotten by Zola. Or has he? No, he's alongside, but Zola still has the run. It's a drag race, and the McLaren will win this drag race by default. Jacob falls right back in line behind the McLaren. 19 has a run on both of them. Jacob to the inside. Zola won't even try to defend. Jacob lunges under braking. Can't do anything to McLaren. Still, Zola makes a little bit of a mistake coming out to the second straightaway. Jacob, nice and straight run, but it doesn't matter because, again, it does not matter your driving skill. It does not matter about what you have on the car. It does not matter if you can have Michael Godforsaken Schumacher in that Haas. The McLaren has better straight line speed. You cannot physically go faster than that McLaren in a straight without DRS. Flavor with an instant there on the main straightaway. Very nearly backs into Dave Ewart there. And that's an interesting part. It's about halfway down the straight. A frustrating time, though, for Flavor, as he can't seem to get going either. The tires are completely melted, it seems. And he was running in the points-paying positions for everything came unraveled for him in the last corner, in the last lap. But now it seems like the car is stuck and won't move. All right, it looks like he's finally moving, but he has now been trapped a lap down, and any chance he had of a good run today has come to a crushing end. 19's gotten alongside Jacob this time, and we can anticipate that the Williams will be able to out-drag him without issue. Smoothie, though, pitting out of the 9th position. Rain is still falling, though, so we know he's not going to get onto a different set of tires. I have to wonder if maybe he's repairing damage. Jacob's off! Jacob is off in turn 1, and he'll drop all the way down to 8th position now. Nothing but bad news for Jacob, as he has now fallen to 9th. So now it's 19's turn to try and do something about Zola. Zola, one of the slowest drivers on track right now, but it doesn't matter because he has just enough acceleration coming down to the straightaway that he can do whatever he wants. No, you just cannot get alongside here without DRS because of how large these cars are and how wide these cars are and how heavy these cars are and just how this track is designed. There's not a lot of long straights here. It's all like short, medium speed straights and a lot of really janky corners as well. 19 has a good run on Zola. He's within a 1/5 of a second, but again, can't do anything here. Yun gets by Fletcher there for the 11th position now. Smoothie gets by Fiend for 13th, farther back though, but that's because Fiend's had an accident. Or at least a spin, but it looks like that car is in good enough condition that he will be able to continue, but Fiend now far, far away from the points-paying positions. Jacob trying to close back in on the fight that's ahead of him. The only serious battle that we've been seeing most of this race has been this one between Zola and whoever he's trying to defend against, although there is this going on back here. Polyboy there behind level 6 Beastian. Mercedes versus Red Bull there is out of the points-paying positions for the moment, though. Good run by the Mercedes closing in, but again, straight's not long enough to really do anything about it. Out the back of Zola. And this might be it. 19. Alongside Zola, but Zola has a better time putting the power down, and now the fight goes back in Gabo's favor, or does it? No, Gabo has to step wide. Now Gabo will lose a position to Ryan Hurricane. He's going to try and to fight back in the second to last corner. He'll be left on the outside going to the final round, side by side for the 5th position. Ryan Hurricane squeezing Gabo. Beastian's had an accident, and that's it. Full course safety car. And Beastian now taken out of the event. And for Torpedo, he has far big enough of a gap that really doesn't matter. Fletch jumped into pit lane as soon as that yellow flag came out to put new tires on that car. So he'll be on fresh intermediates. We're going to try and get level 6 Beastian into the party now. So Torpedo with a 25-second gap, he can pit and not have to worry about anyone except his teammate Jabez John even fighting with him. So will he take advantage of it? I imagine the answer will be yes, he does. And the good news for Flavor is that this will let Flavor get back on the lead lap because he will not be pitting. And now XRL Yun has to serve a drive-through penalty for apparently speeding under the safety car, which is bullcrap because right now Yun's only requirement should be to try and catch up to the field, but again, this game's stupid when it comes to its penalties. Javashan will pit as second, and with that in mind, John does not have to worry now. Torpedo doesn't have to worry about losing the position of John. Zola will be coming in, 19 will come in. Ryan Hurricane stays out though, as does Gabo, but Lowe will pit, Matrix will pit, Jacob and Raptor will pit. Yun will go ahead and pit as well. Smoothie is already pitted. He pitted before the yellow flag came out, but he's far enough back that I don't think he's actually going to be able to capitalize on this and gain any positions. Now Yun gets a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, apparently. I take the back. Smoothie might be able to sneak by Yun and Raptor. He'll get by both of them, and he'll get by Jacob as well. So this will put Smoothie up into 9th at this point in the event. Waddington in the pits. He will likely drop way back. And the good news for all this is for Fiend, Collyboy, Dave Ewart, and Flavor, they will all be kept on the lead lap and get a chance to gather up to the back of the grid. But now, Ryan Hurricane and Gabo have leapt up to 2nd and 3rd positions on very worn intermediate tires at that, but still they have jumped significantly up the grid. And it's going to be a long time until the field all gathers up now. Field very much spread out this moment as Collyboy in the pits again at this point as well. So Collyboy will actually end up being behind Flavor now. Yeah, right now only the front 4 have gathered up behind the safety car, and Collyboy is still relatively close to going a lap down at the moment. So this is going to be a very long safety car. The field's not going to be gathered up for a while, and Ryan Hurricane and Gabo have just now elected to pit, making their decision to pit way late. Now they're going to hemorrhage and drop a bunch of positions, fall way down the grid, likely down to about 14th position or so. Bizarre decision by both of them. This is going to have a massively negative effect on both of them going forward, as Hurricane comes out 12th and Gabo 13th now. I don't imagine we're going to be going green until about lap 22, frankly, though, because the field is still very much spread out. The front 13 drivers have all just about closed on each other, but 14th through 18th is well over a minute between all of them alone. For Waddington, though, one thing that this will not help with is it does not allow him to save fuel very much. As we look at his telemetry, he's rushing to try and catch up to the back of the grid, but because he had fallen so far off pace, and now he has to rush to catch up, he doesn't really get the advantage of being in the safety car and saving a lot of gas. It looks like he will just about catch the safety car here. Now Waddington has caught the back of the grid, and he'll be able to conserve as much fuel as he wants. Dave Ewart also in a similar position, though, trying to save fuel, not in a position to. Same with XRL Flavor. And Flesh coming into the pit lane again. And he gets a time penalty for speeding, apparently, in the pit lane, which I call bullcrap on, because you're already under safety car speed, but whatever. This will only drop Fletch to about 16th position. And right now, Davey Wart's just about caught the back of the grid, and I imagine we'll see Flavor, Fletch, and Collie Boy catch before this lap is over. So we should be going green lap 22 here. Ferrari started 1-2. Torpedoes led this entire race very smoothly. Jameson fell to about 6th on lap 1, but worked his way back up to the field, got back into second position early on. So it's been a Ferrari 1-2 pretty much ever since then. So we watched Flavor as he's trying to catch up to the back of the grid. Looks like he's fixed his fuel issues, as has Collie Boy. Davey Wart not yet, but he is still there on the back of the grid, so he should be able to fix it more as this goes on. There you are, Flavor. He'll catch Davey Wart probably on this straightaway. Fletch will follow up, as will Collie Boy, and we'll be going green on lap 22 of 58. Safety car officially coming in this lap. Ferrari 1-2. How will they hold up the field behind coming to the green? Torpedo shoots out of the final corner like a cannon. James Young cannot match him, but he's still better at putting the powder down than 19 is. Although 19 has good enough straight line speed, he looks to the outside. John defends, and now Zola throws it up to the inside, but ends up leaving him open to attack now from low. Zola, though, still fast enough down straightaway that he might be able to do something against 19 going into 3. Contact between the two of them, and the McLaren is going to bully his way around the Alpine, or will he? That's Matrix, who is out of nowhere, found himself very high in the points-paying positions now. Zola and 19 continuing to fight for position. More contact. There's not enough room for these two around the circuit, but neither of them willing to give up. Contact again between both of them. 19 ahead of Zola. And Matrix still there alongside Lowe. A bunch of championship contenders all on top of each other here. Matrix going up against Lowe, but can't make it stick. The good news is it's just the cars right now in these wet weather conditions are just slow enough that he doesn't really have to worry about anything of the car spinning out from underneath him. Zola gonna get another shot at 19 going down this straightaway though. Flying down the straight, but not enough to get alongside the Williams going into the braking zone. But you can blatantly see how much faster the McLaren is in the straightaway. Flavor, another incident, now drop him back into 16th now. As Matrix and Lowe continue to scrap it out for the 5th position. Oh, and Matrix high center on a curve. And that's gone bad. And that's a bunch of cars involved. Matrix, your championship leader, is involved, and he's one of multiples. Ryan Hurricane's involved in it. I think Fletch might have taken damage in it as well. That's not Fletch, that's Smoothie. His entire front wing's been ripped off in the process. And everything's gone bad for your championship points leader. Smoothie involved as well. What about Gabo? Is there damage on his car? Good news for Flavor. This happened just after he spun, so he'll be able to catch back up to the grid here. But aggravation and frustration. Good news for Yun. He'll be able to close back up to the back of the grid under the safety car. No damage to Gabo as far as I can see. What about Waddington? I don't see any damage to Waddington's car. Jacob just slid off circuit under the safety car. That's another position now in Raptor's favor. And Jacob is also one of the drivers who have taken damage in the incident. No front wing for Jacob or Smoothie. And for Matrix, who went too aggressive against Low, got high center on a curb, spun right in front of the field, and there was nowhere for a bunch of drivers to go. And for your championship points leader, a day that started rough but was getting better goes right back to being bad. And we're going to see a bunch of drivers coming into the pits now. Interestingly enough, for Matrix, the damage to the car is not enough. He does not have to pit. So this will put him back in 10th at the least. And Yun will basically get all these positions for free pretty much now, after having to serve that drive-through penalty earlier. And now Raptor, who started 10th but dropped all the way back to about the 16th position, now finds himself as the highest spot in this race yet, 6th, just getting a little bit lucky avoiding the accident caused by XRL Matrix. Now Raptor just has one car between himself and Zola. This could be a good day in the Constructors fight for McLaren. The other good news for the drivers who need more fuel to save, this will help them significantly. These extra laps under yellow. In fact, now everybody is actually in a good position when it comes to fuel. Flex still not caught to the back of the grid. Neither has Yun, Fiend, Jacob, Smoothie, or Collie Boy, so we're likely not going to go green until about lap 26. Still not halfway through the race, though. All right, so now Yun's caught the back of the grid, and Fiend should catch them here in the next corner or two. And then there's Jacob back there in 15th.
Hello.
Welcome back to Veloce. While you've been away, Matrix found his way up into the top 10 positions and was fighting with Low for 5th, only to get high center on a curb coming out of turn 4. And just as he was losing control of the car, he put the power down, spun right in front of the field. Multi-car incident, which involved a bunch of different drivers. And now your points leader has been dropped back to the 10th position. But under the safety car, everyone is now good on fuel to make it to the end of the race.
Well, that's good, isn't it? And, well, I mean, when I last checked, I beat about a 10-second lead. And now there's a safety car. Right? Hear me out. Last race, there was a massive lead to the leader. And then there was a safety car around the same point in the race. And then, as they went on to win, it was completely out of contention at the time. So I have a feeling we are going to get a surprise winner from here. Perhaps Dave, who was running last for most of the race so far, until the safety cars. We will have to see.
You make an excellent point. It's very much possible. One thing that will help with that, though, is that right now Torpedo does have a time penalty, while second place Davis Don does not have time penalties right now. But Torpedo has led every single lap. Coming into the second restart, does Torpedo maximize his restart like he did before?
Yeah, John trying to get as close as possible. He does try to take a right line into the last one. Not the right line for taking to the last one. But that allowed Torpedo to not only get a great lead, but an extra 19 to have a run on into turn 1. I think he'll be safe for turn 1, but not for turn 3, because presuming 90 gets a good exit here, which he does. Oh, torpedo ground, and that's...
No! And your race leader, XRL Torpedo, spins in front of the entire field, and shockingly, nobody else is involved. The man who has dominated the entire event now falls to dead last, and it becomes James John who goes to the point in the race.
It's such an unfortunate turn of events after such a dominating start to the race. But we saw something similar in Brazil, didn't we? The leader most of the race, I believe it was Edgar, and then Edgar ended up crashing out of the race. So, well, I don't know actually. It might have been, it might not have been. But we've seen something very similar happen today in Australia. History is reliving itself, I say history, about a week ago. But still.
A week ago is still history, it's just recent history.
Ooh,
but there's a very spirited
very
fight
good
for the
run.
lead right now. 19 outstanding run on Jabez John. Jabez could not make the crossover stick. And now for the first time today, we do not have a Ferrari-powered car leading the race.
Here we have Mercedes, followed by a Ferrari, followed by Mercedes, followed by Mercedes, followed by a Ferrari. So
Flavor and Jacob both involved in incidents back there. Fleck's been involved as well. No no caution flag for all of that though.
Flavor nearly hit there is the other flag. Also Flavor nearly hit Torpedo, which is just unlucky. Jacob, 3-second time penalty in 14th position. 6 seconds of time penalties in total for him. Behind the... is that Jacob around?
No,
No,
Jacob and
pits.
Collie Boy both coming into the pits now to try and repair damage that they got on that restart. And now Jabez John has to hold off two McLarens. Those McLarens have been absolutely amazing today. Not because of anything the drivers have done, although I will give Raptor credit to going from 16th to 4th. But just
Great
because
driving.
they have so much better straight line speed that there's absolutely nothing you can do unless you're willing to be hyper aggressive, chopping them off at the end of every straightaway pretty much.
Raptor's X3, isn't he? Or is he X2? No, I'm not sure.
He's only in this series, Raptor only
Oh,
runs this
yeah.
series.
For whatever reason, I thought he used to be an X3. And I don't know why I thought that. Yeah, I definitely think that if he was an X3, he'd be running in the top couple of drivers. So actually, you maybe even be able to run it. Yeah, no, Zola's X2. He'll be able to run perhaps X2 with Zola. They're in the same car at the moment, and Raptor isn't struggling really to keep pace with Zola.
Alright, well now John has turned the tables just a little bit and is closing back in on XRL 19. The question is, does that Ferrari have the strength to get by the stronger Mercedes power plants down any of these straightaways?
Might have a better power unit, but nothing if the car can't utilise it correctly. Well, and the Williams isn't the least draggiest car in the grid, I think it's safe to say. So it'll be interesting to see how hard it is to catch up and keep up with the Williams of 19.
Torpedo has just set the fastest lap of the day again, but he's back there in 15th. But he's already gone from 18th to 15th after spinning on the restart. It's Fletch who's the next driver who's going to be running down now.
Yeah, he does have a 17.3 second gap to the leader, so that's almost a whole pit stop that XAX could make and still come out within a couple of seconds of Torpedo. However, Torpedo is quite quickly closing that gap. Although he does look to be struggling with a little bit with the rear end, I'm not sure though if that's just setup based or if it's something he's had the whole race. But it'll be interesting to see where Torpedo can come back to in the race.
I'm sure the issue he's having with the rear of the car is just due to the fact that the track is, you know, still very wet.
It does look to be drying out though, so be interesting
Well,
to
it
see if
was a
does
little
dry
bit
out.
better around lap 20 or so. It actually looked a little like it was just about to start drying out. The rain was really thin there, but since then the rain started to pick back up once more. So
19 weaving on the straight front and brake the sixth in, which is even more powerful in the way, at least in real life that is. Not quite sure about the game because Codemasters. But yeah, Slipstream's a lot more powerful in the wet. 4/10 now the gap between the two front runners. Torpedo with another fastest lap of the race. What's the next closest battle on the track? It'll be between Matrix and Waddo for P6. And it doesn't look like Matrix is going anywhere anytime soon. Oh, cool.
Indeed, this has basically been the story. This has basically been the story of the race. We get these little trains, sometimes as big as 9 cars, sometimes just 2 or 3 cars, where you can't really do anything to the guy ahead unless they make a silly, stupid mistake, and that's just not really been happening. John really, and virtual safety car is out, and that's for an instant there. Yeah, the entire front wing ripped off the Haas there.
Fiend has had a good comeback as well, because he was lost. Well, he was down the order at one point because he spun. Only virtual, so that will give Jacob time to get back to the pits. That's actually no, it won't, because he's only just coming to the end of the first sector, and well, pretty sure the marshals will be able to clear the incident out pretty quickly, as it's just a front wing to collect. Meanwhile, John 3/10 to XRX.
And there we are, we're back under the green flag. Just as they get under the braking zone, that worked out well enough for the Ferrari. He's not lost a lot of time to the Williams.
So lap 30, the order's changed quite a bit from the start of the race. Matrix working his way up. You also have Wallington up 12 positions from P18 on the grid, so that's amazing work from him. XX is up 7 positions, I did not realise that. And then of course your big losers are XRL, Torpedo and Cully Boy, both down 13 positions from the start, so they've clearly not had a good race. Torpedo obviously had a spin after the safety car.
And now Flavor has had an incident there. He's ripped off his entire front wing.
Doesn't look like there'll be any virtual safety car for that. Fiend is also up 9 positions, so amazing for the X3.
Oh, Yun! He has had an incident there in Sector 2.
He still has his front wing though. Just lost an end plate. Which I guess in the wet conditions is probably absolutely dreadful. He has more front wing than the Red Bull or Flavor does at least. Yeah, looks like Flavor is just letting Cully Boy go. He doesn't want to hold him up. I've just also realised Jacob is dangerously close to being lapped. Only about 40, well actually yeah, about 14 seconds from being lapped. So,
Brian Hurricane now gets by low, and Fiend's had an incident.
Oh, Fiend was doing so well. No.
And that is another virtual safety car, and the game says that Lowe turned and wrecked Fiend, and that was the cause of it.
The game says that now? I didn't know the game was that smart.
Well, the game says that Lowe gets a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Fiend, so... And that propped up just the moment that Fiend went out. So, yeah, that's basically the game saying that it believes that Lowe wrecked his teammate Fiend there.
That is just, oh, that is so unlucky for Fiend. He was having such a good race. He was up 9 positions, I believe. So, second biggest gain along with Matrix. Ah, oh, so unfortunate. Just, I have tried to
try and get Fiend in here. Yeah, let's see if he has anything he wants to say about what's happened there. Good news, though, is that although it's not a full course safety car into the virtual, that means it's a little bit more time. And now Flavor gets a time penalty for crossing the pit lane exit white line. It's just been from bad to worse for Flavor. He spent about the first 15 laps in the top 10, but then just made one mistake and has snowballed to a cornucopia of them.
That is so annoying for XRL Fiend. I was just saying how it was doing so well as well. I shouldn't have said anything. That's what commentators curse. My God. Keep my mouth closed next time.
All right, well, we are back under green flag now, but when we went green this time, it's been much more favorable for XRL 19. He's been able to open up more of a gap. All right, coming to the party now is XRL Fiend. Fiend, go ahead and include your audio. Accident in the middle of the field. The game says that your teammate Low wrecked you, but what happened in your own words?
Hello. So.
Hello.
Hi.
Right. So, let's think about this very carefully, so I don't say anything silly. I'm driving around the track, and I'm driving around the track, and
That's good. That's a good start.
Spins. Low spins. That's right. I then see him spinning, so I go to the right-hand side of the track, thinking, oh, he'll stay there. But unfortunately, his car decided to roll backwards a little bit, meaning that I may have hit his rear tyres, DNFing me, and he's still in the race. So, work that one out. And that is the story of how I DNF'd. Sorry.
All right, a lot of frustration. Very easy to understand why you'd be frustrated. So now the question is, do you think it's possible to rebound next week?
What track is it next week?
China.
China. I haven't raced China on this game since it got released, so no idea.
Tyre around China is a massive problem. I think tyre temps are worse, actually.
Yeah, I don't know anything about China.
The funny thing is, I was just saying how you were doing so well, up 9 positions from your starting position, and then literally about 10 seconds later you were out. So apologies if I cursed you or anything.
So yeah, I mean the car didn't feel all that good today in this weather. Mainly due to the fact it was wet. But it didn't feel the best. Didn't feel like I had the pace to compete today. So even being in ninth would have been decent. But, you know, it's one of those things. Isn't it?
Are you full time or are you reserve?
Full time.
Oh no, Dave just spins!
Oh.
Dave spins out of the 9th position, falls to 12th.
Oh dear, oh dear.
P9 is the unlucky position, isn't it, at the moment? Who's in P9 now?
Is it?
Smoothie. Watch out for him, he'll spin. Yep. I hope not, obviously, but well, you spun, and then literally 3 laps later, Dave spun out of P9 as well.
So in 3 laps time, Smith will spin.
Yeah, and then
Flavor also had his first accident when he was running in 9th as well. So
don't want to be in P9. P9 is not the place to be.
all right, well, Fiend, I do want to say thanks for being willing to jump in and share a relatively level-headed assessment on what took you out. But it's a shame we have to talk to you at this point in the race and not, after in the post-race. And Yuns had an accident out of the final corner.
Yeah, no worries.
Fletch
Thanks
is
for having
very
me on.
close to the back of the Mercedes of Dave. My favourite name in the world, by the way, Dave. You can't. Oh, Dave does go a little bit deep into turn 3. I forgot which corner it was, into turn 3. However, just because of the track conditions and traction and car,
Yuns out!
able to get very close. That was. He sounded so unenthusiastic about that. Unfortunately,
I've been watching Yun for the last few laps, and it was more of a case of when, not if, for Yun. That car seemed to have just gotten farther and farther away from him as it had gone on. Do you think you'd be able to get him in?
I could try if I pressed the right button. There we go. I did it that time. Also, looking at the strategy, 7 stops for Coolie Boy, 5 stops for Jacob. No, 6 for Coolie Boy, 5 for Jacob. And then most other people on 2, but 7 stops. Oh, someone spun. Okay, no, that's the game bugging.
Oh, but someone's just spun now! Matrix gets turned by Ryan Hurricane. Hurricane comes to a dead stop to let Matrix get the position back. but now in the position, it's brought Smoothie, Low, and Torpedo up to play, and Ryan Hurricane comes into the pits to repair damage.
That's what I saw then. I did see someone spinning. I thought I saw someone move down the order, and it turns out it was Ryan in Matrix. Hang on, isn't Ryan a character in Matrix, or am I going crazy? Anyway.
No. Don't worry, you're going crazy.
How the turns have tabled. Yeah, that has allowed Smooth to close up to the back of Matrix. Coolie Boy with yet another part of that. He is demolishing the fastest lap at the moment, mate. Torpedo is just absolutely lost all pace. Well, he hasn't lost any pace actually. He's just lost all clean air by the looks of things behind the Alpine of Low.
Torpedo, though, also is on 16-lap worn tires, while Collie Boy is still only with 13 laps. So, yeah, Collie's tires will be a little bit happier as well at this point in the race.
Yeah, they're a little bit happier, but tire temperatures will be just as frustrating.
Alright, coming down to the front straightaway once again, Jabaston within about half a second of XRL 19. Can he do anything to the Williams?
The only thing he is doing is pushing him across every apex on this track. I've been riding on board with John for a while now, and it just seems he can't get close enough in the straight to go for a move yet. On every apex in the first, in the second sequence of corners, and then in the middle sector of the lap on the back sector. Ooh, maybe a bit of, I'm not quite sure, a little bit of the front wing came off from the Ferrari of G-Bus John there when he made little to contact with the back end of the Williams of XIX. This is one of the closest battles on the field. Funny enough, the other being between the Ferrari of Torpedo and Low. Yeah, but it just looks so frustrating being in the Ferrari of John if he can't do anything in these conditions, as it's so hard to...
Oh, Low, big twist. Torpedo's not able to capitalize, though, in this battle between Low and Torpedo. Most important thing to note about that is that is the ride that the other driver had for about the first 3-4 races of the season before the two of them swapped seats. That was the most recent significant seat swap we've seen thus far. Since then, Torpedo's performance has significantly improved. Low's performance has become a lot more hit and miss. Low still has some great runs, but he has made it very clear he hates driving that Alpine.
Low has some good highs, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he also has some real bad names.
Low has some lows
that reflect realities. Yeah.
Low has lows. Low is lows sometimes, but low is also high sometimes.
But that doesn't mean that you're going to see him at the Lowe's home improvement store, though.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's an American thing.
Yeah, we don't have many.
Fletch has just had a spin,
Fletch
and Fletch spins a second time now in the final corner. He's trying to get back underway. He needs to get moving quickly because Ryan Hurricane is coming with speed.
His rear tires
be out of the way.
going to be hotter than the Sahara Desert at the moment.
Well, that's why it's raining.
What the? Yeah, okay. It doesn't do much if your tires are 100 degrees. We could literally boil water on his tires. That's how hot they are. And I guess they're more effective at carrying away water, so...
As we turn our focus back to the battle up front, Jabaston continues to hang out within about half a second of XRL 19, but is not able to get alongside the Williams at any point on the circuit. The advantage that Jabaston does have, though, no time penalties, while 19 still does have time penalties right now.
This has been a good race for XIX so far, up 7 positions from 8th on the grid. He has a decent exit, but XX just is a better exit, so this is the problem. The only real overtaking opportunities on this track are probably turn 3 and turn 12. But to do that, you need to get a good exit around some high-speed corners as well. And Torpedo does take the fastest lap back from Coolie Boy over 1:36.175. That's great for the recovering Ferrari, but at the same time, the problem is it's a recovering Ferrari.
Yeah, Torpedo absolutely dominated almost the entire first half of this race from the pole. A self-inflicted mistake on the second restart, though, sees him drop back there all the way to 18th. He's now recovered up to 9th, but farther and farther up the grid he goes, the harder and harder it is to make overtakes. And Matrix, another time penalty now. Same with Jacob.
Well, yeah, I think this is the closest battle on the field. Ironically, it's the two Ferraris chasing someone down. So it's G-Bus chasing 19, and it's Torpedo chasing Smoothie. He's going to have another go into turn 1, but he does look to be a little bit close to this time. Braking a little earlier than 19, so he doesn't hit the back of him. But yeah, just can't get wide enough to then get a good enough run on 19. And 19 is just able to pull away off into the sunset or just a haze of water, whichever one comes first, I guess.
Oh, and Flavor's had an incident. And that's their full course safety car.
What happened to Flavor?
Well, best thing I can suggest is trying to get him in here and see what he has to say happened at least.
I am already on it.
But that drains us down to 15 cars, and no Red Bull will be finishing in the points. For Zola and Torpedo, though, outstanding timing. They both were able to react immediately to the yellow flag. I'm sorry, not Zola and Torpedo. Torpedo and Collie Boy, they were immediately able to react to the yellow flag, put on fresh rubber, and they might be able to gain some positions from this as well now.
You'd hope so. Also, I just realised, it appears Gabo is very close to the back end of a certain McLaren again. Gabo
But it's not the same one.
It's not the same one.
Yeah, but it's not the same one.
There's always been one. There's always been a McLaren in front of him, and he must be getting annoyed. Also, I don't know if you have this, but it says he has remained up one position. So it's like got the line to stay here as remained in position, yet it has a 1 as if he's gained something. And I think I don't think it's at 4th, did he? I can check. And he started 5th.
Yeah, for me it says that he's moved up 1. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, for me it says that he has moved up 1.
Man, this is a snooze fest, isn't it? I'm joking.
Well, it kind of is, because you almost can't make overtakes unless someone else makes a mistake ahead of you. You're basically spending the entire time wondering, well, will the next guy screw up or not? But anyways, well, nearly everyone near the front is electing to pit, but except Gobble. Yeah, Gobble's saying that's a very bold strategy. Let's see how that plays out. But now Zola is going to be able to stay out. How many positions can Zola potentially pick up?
Gabo, 20 laps on his tyres. Yeah, they're old, very old. I'd say they're probably you're probably looking at about, well, I don't know, you're probably only looking at about 25% on his tyres at the moment. So yeah, not too bad. I wouldn't say his tyres are too bad, to be honest. Because I know tyre on intermediate tyres is slightly better than tyre wear on hard tyres. Despite the fact that they're supposed to be softer, which is just weird. Yeah.
Well, at the front, Gabo now has inherited the lead, but he is on worn intermediate tires. The driver in second is 19 on fresh. Javis John is third, also with fresh tires. Zola was the first guy to be able to react. He has now jumped back up into the 4th position ahead of his teammate Raptor, who's in 5th. Waddington is now 6th, so there has been a Haas right in the top 10 pretty much this entire race. Torpedo, by virtue of reacting to the safety car as it came out, he's actually gained 2 more positions, so Torpedo is now up in the 7th spot. Matrix has fallen to 8th. Smoothie is now 9th. Ryan Hurricane rounds out the points main positions. He's 10th. Fletch has not elected to pit under the safety car, and he is hanging out in 11th right now. Then 12th is Lowe. 13th is Dave Ewart. 14th is Collie Boy. 15th is Jacob. And the good news for Jacob, once again, he will be able to stay on the lead lap for at least a little bit longer.
Yeah, I am also just looking at the fastest laps, and it does look like that Jacob hasn't been lapping too far off the pace. His fastest lap's about a tenth of that of Torpedoes. So he's quick, but it's just he's been spinning or caught up in incidents.
I think one of the main reasons that Jacob's been quick is that he underfueled that Haas to begin the race, and he's spent a lot of time on this track alone with absolutely no aerodynamic weight to take into consideration at all, and that's let him basically showcase his true ability, true potential, while drivers like Torpedo or Dave Ewart have, been hampered a bit by the fact that they've actually been trying to fight for a position.
I've just realised though, Collie Boy is down 10 positions from where he started, so he would have started P4, whereas Waddington is up 12. So, great race for Waddington. Can't exactly say the same for Collie Boy. Have you had to put your money on someone to win this race? Who would you put it on?
I think right now it goes in 19's favor. The Ferrari Davis John hasn't been able to get by him, and the McLarens have been absolutely outstanding on defense, but Zola's not been great at overtaking, and I don't know if Raptor is going to have what it takes to get by the people ahead. I think right now 19 gets it. Now, if we have another late race safety car to bunch the field up, and Davis John can continue to avoid getting time penalties, it would go in his favor. But I don't think it's going to be that way to the end. I honestly think it's going to be 19 who will take the victory here.
I still think we're going to see some sort of surprise winner. I feel like it's going to come in the shape of a Haas. That goes by the name of Waddo. A Waddington. I have a feeling, just a pure gut instinct that he could win this race.
It would definitely be a very interesting victory, to say the least, but that's something that I most definitely would not feel comfortable putting my money on.
I wouldn't put my money on it, but it's just, my gut is telling me that Waddo will win this race. And I don't know why my gut's telling me that. I think my gut is a bit drunk.
How much have you been drinking recently?
I'm not old enough.
Really, you definitely sound like you could be.
And
Fletch has retired in the pit lane now.
Why?
Well, I'm not sure why, but whatever's happened, it's definitely not going to help him out. And he has also apparently left the session, so I have to wonder if maybe something's happened in real life that has forced him to step away from the game.
Perhaps, and I hope that everything goes well for him and the rest of his team. Oh, Flavor. Hello.
Alright, coming to the party now is XRL Flavor. Flavor, go ahead and include your audio. For about the first 15 laps of the race, you were fighting in the points-paying position. But then, as it went on, mistakes piled up, and you're not going to finish the race. What happened to you today, Flavor?
I think you just hit the nail on the head, if I'm honest. Mistakes, just mistakes. Concentration a bit, maybe. I should have changed the traction because I have it on medium. And normally in the rain, I used to turn it to full, and maybe I should have done that because it was just too many spins in the end. It didn't spin too many.
Alright, it's a rough day for you to say the least. Do you think you'll be able to recover, though, next week at China?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just coming. I am going strength for strength. I think you have to take positives from the first part of the race where I was on the pace. I was doing really well. I was driving the conditions well, etc., etc. It's just consistency I have to build up. The normal stuff, what everyone says. The consistency. I think I'm getting faster. Just more practice, more consistency. I think.
Yeah, you're definitely getting faster.
Smoothie has just crashed under a safety car all by himself.
I've had a tough week, to be honest. So it's been hard to concentrate. It's been hard to,
Fair enough.
those things.
I mean, yeah, you've definitely
Yeah.
been getting quicker just through this one season from what I've seen of Dev. Like, take the start of the season, you wouldn't even think twice about battling anyone. Fair enough. And then go back to last week, you were battling with pretty much everyone that got in your way. So,
Yeah.
you're definitely
I
getting
just think,
quicker. Yeah.
I think I have to take them positives, I have to take that confidence into what I do and be a bit more confident. Maybe I need to get online and do some more online races where you just run nothing at stake and you can do these overtakes and things, or go on Grand Prix or do, get some overtakes and things, because I just need that confidence to be a bit more aggressive into those corners, I think. On a more regular basis. Again, it's consistency. Just what it is.
All right, well, Flavor, thanks for being willing to jump in and talk with us. Real quickly, we also want to talk with Flesh here. Flesh, go ahead and include your audio. Messy day, ending in the pits. What happened that took you out? You should be able to include your audio.
Go on the party. Go up to where there'll be a box right at the top. It'll say include my audio. Just go onto it. Tick it. With the brother's name, it says Insane Leaders Party, and just below it, show the box. Anyway, jump out. Good luck, everyone. Shit.
All right, as we turn our focus to the race real quickly, while Flesh tries to fix his audio woes. Raptor got by Torpedo, then Torpedo got back by Raptor. Now Torpedo up into the 6th position behind Zola. Zola lost spot to Waddington at the race restart. Davis John still hanging out behind 19, and 19 has not been able to keep pace with Gabo. The question though, can Gabo make this set of tires last to the end of this race? I really don't think so.
I think he can, but I think he's going to be suffering more towards the end. Also, for my prediction of Waddington winning, well, it's looking a little more likely than what it did a lap ago, but Zola has absolutely sent it down the inside of a madman. He's just barely kept it on the track. They're now going side by side and just losing seconds of time to John ahead. So,
But Torpedo likes to see this, because this means that as long as these two keep fighting, Zola might get run off the optimal racing line, and he could get alongside. Torpedo's overtaken one of the McLarens today. Can he overtake the other one on his quest back to the front of the field?
I have a feeling Torpedo might still have a chance. As much as I would love it if Wallington did win. I mean, he's already lost about 2.5 seconds. The leader since the safety car restart, so yeah, but he doesn't have any time penalties, however. That's one thing to keep in mind.
Alright, I'm sorry, Flesh. Alright, sorry to hear that happen for you, Flesh. I understand, and hopefully the officials will take that in mind when looking back post-race, so... Oh! A big accident! A massive multi-car accident on the front straightaway!
Oh.
Matrix is involved! Hurricane's involved! Smoothie is involved! Not Smoothie, I'm sorry, Low is involved! That's a full course safety car! And that happened just as Zola was able to hold off Torpedo for another lap. But your points leader, Matrix, that all started when Matrix had a bit of an issue going through Sector 3, went off circuit, and just as he merged back on and got in line, he was not able to avoid the spinning car of Ryan Hurricane going into... I believe it was Ryan Hurricane coming out of the final corner, and 4 cars piled in a multi-car accident on the front straightaway.
That is Low, Hurricane, and Matrix, all without front wings. If there's anyone else, I think it's just those.
Oh, Matrix is out! Matrix has spun on the safety car trying to catch up, and your points leader will not finish the race.
That is a big change of events, a big turn of events for the championship. Let's see how he's done it. I think he has just gone into got on the power too early, probably out of frustration. I can imagine he's in the party now.
All right, coming in the party now is your points leader, XRL Matrix. Not likely to hold the points lead coming out of this race, but Matrix, go ahead, include your audio. What happened on that last lap?
Ryan lost it, then me and Mo went into him. I lost complete traction of the car, and then I lost my wing and then tried to make my back round away. I lost traction at the corner I died in and went in the wall, and yeah. The race was a mess anyway. Nothing but it was the most boring race ever. But yeah, that's what happened.
You didn't make it. You were not able to make it out of Q1, but on 2 different occasions you had fought your way up well into the points before everything kind of slipped away from you again. My question is, do you think if you didn't get caught up in someone else's mess, do you think you could have still finished in the points-paying positions?
No, because I had 12 seconds and the way the race was going, it was a waste of time.
Alright, well then the other question I have to ask then is, do you think you can rebound next week at China?
No. China's rotten. So no. If it's raining, no. If it's dry, maybe, but nah, that was... Australia's probably one of the worst tracks on the game. They've ruined it. It used to be really good. Nah, not anymore.
The curbs are just unusable now.
The curbs are unusable, traction's overall the track's rotten, and then the track limits are rotten. Time penalty central. So inconsistent, it's unreal. So, yeah. China, if it's dry, yeah. If it's wet, no.
Alright, well, it's a shame to see you out, Matrix, but I will say thank you for making the championship fight a little bit more interesting. None of our title contenders have really had a truly good day today except for Davis Dawn, so
yeah.
We'll be looking forward to what you guys will be able to show to us next week at China. Cool. Thanks for being willing to talk with us.
No worries. Cheers.
Alright, so we turn our focus back to the racetrack. The entire field's still not bunched up. We're not likely to go green until about lap 48. As it stands right now, though, Gabo still leading on 26 lap worn tires. 19 hanging out there behind him on relatively fresh intermediates. And then Jay Bastion in third with intermediates at about the same age. Also, though, in James' favor, he still has not yet earned any time penalties, while both of the drivers ahead of him have earned time penalties 3 seconds apiece. So,
have they earned time penalties, or have they been given time penalties? Because earned implies it's a good thing.
No, earned just means that they have done something that has warranted them receiving those time penalties. In this case, it would be track violations.
Fair enough. I've just always assumed.
Although, to be fair, it is like it's like a really nitpicky minor grammatical thing, so.
Yeah, I am a nitpicky minor. I had to spend many years painfully learning English, learning all the ins and outs of the language, because if you're a foreigner such as myself or Whippy or Sasha or people who didn't speak English as their first language, it's not the easiest language to learn. I think that's fair to say.
Now, you make a fair point, but you speak it well enough that I've had absolutely no problem communicating or talking with you, at least, so it's not like it's all been a waste, at least.
Yes, but it's definitely been worth learning English. And it's probably my most used language at the moment anyway, because I live where I live, there are a lot of English speaking people and most of them don't speak English, so I just speak English 9 times out of 10. Anyway, back to the race. Safety car in this lap. John P3, 19 P2, and Gabo 36 720, or whatever you call him, in P1, or 367 27. I don't know, to be honest. Personally, who I thought was going to win was gained 2 positions since the last safety car. Will he keep the pattern up? Well, we shall find out in about 10 laps time. And has
one thing of interest I will say is that Ferrari powered engines have 3 of the top 4 spots right now, and 4 of the top 6. So I would definitely say, even though they may not be the fastest in a straight line, they're just more reliable when it comes to their power application, and it's working out very well for them. As we are going back under the green flag, 19 right there behind Gabo. What can he do?
Nothing. He can sit behind him because it's Australia and it's impossible to overtake into turn 1. However, turn 3 is
Oh,
now
Jacob! Woo! Jacob ran off track by Raptor. He slid sideways back onto the racetrack, and he was about a fraction of a millisecond away from spinning right in front of the entire field.
2 Haas drivers in the points though. How many times have we seen that this season? Not many. Not many at all. It was like Smoothie was squeezed a little bit by Lowe. Well, I don't think he'll be very happy with that because he has now lost his position to Smoothie and is now on the back of Ryan. But yeah, 2 Haas drivers in the points, Waddington and XRL Jacob. How many times do we have 2 Haas finishes in the top 10 this season? And
Absolutely none at all.
exactly, so it would be absolutely phenomenal if both Jacob and Waddington could finish in top 10. However, it doesn't look like Lowe's going to give Jacob an easy time at trying to do it.
Meanwhile, at the front, XRL 19 continues to hammer away at the rear end of that Alfa Romeo. The Alfa looking very, very weak, very slow in these corners right now, but he's just good enough putting the power down that he's able to stay ahead of the Williams.
You've also got Jacob is right on the back of Coolio, basically pushing him through the last 4 corners on the track. Meaning
Torpedo around the outside of Zola is not able to make this position stick. In fact, Torpedo actually gets a time penalty trying to overtake the McLaren.
Oh, I don't know if I saw that correctly, but I did think that 19 tried to go around the outside of Garbo at turn 4. At turn 3, bold move. It would have been a bold move had it stuck, but it didn't. It remains at Garbo, XIX, and John. Although Wado is very close to that of John. If Wado can get a podium, that would be a very good result for the Haas team.
Oh, 19, big step out there in Sector 2, and that's going to open the gap up a bit between himself and Gabo.
It's the same for for Wado on John. John lost a little bit of traction coming off of turn 10, I believe it is. But it's just so quick of a straight line compared to the Haas. The Haas can't really do much. And then Waddington catches up a lot in this last sector, so unlucky for the Haas driver.
19 continues to hang out there behind Gabo's rear wing, but it seems like 19 is burning up his rear tires more than Gabo is ruining his own. Gabo might be able to force 19 into making a mistake and in turn handing himself the victory here. If he can pull it off, it would be an outstanding performance as Dave Ewart has had an instant. He has ripped the entire front wing off the car coming out of the final corner.
Jacob still on the back of Coolie Boy, but just 2 Mercedes engines in front of him versus his own Ferrari and Haas aerodynamics. Just not able to keep up in the straight line. But it does look like Raptors made a little bit of a mistake. That means Coolie Boy has a little bit of a look into 4. And Raptor got a better exit off 4. Through 5 into 6, 7, 8.
19 has now fallen almost a full second off of Gabo on pace. He needs to try and close back in and get by him because right now those 2 cars are even on pace, and realistically 19 should have the advantage in tire wear, but that does not seem to be the case. It seems like 19 has burned his rears off trying to get around Gabo. Now 19 has just earned another time penalty, and James John has earned himself a time penalty.
All this Wado in a very, very, very good position.
Not good enough though, because he's not close enough to capitalize off of time penalties that Gabo has right now. So as it stands, now Gabo has become the de facto favorite to win this race, assuming he does not bottle it in these last 8 laps.
If Waddington can just get within 3 seconds of Gabo, Waddington might actually be able to come through. Oh, and
Collie Boy's out!
Safety car. Oh, this is great for Waddington. This is perfect for Waddington. If Waddington wins, I'm gonna go. I can't buy a lottery ticket. I'm gonna go tell someone the lottery numbers for them to buy a lottery ticket.
You do realize that's a great way to get shot if you give them the wrong numbers, right?
My point was, if Waddington wins this after I said Waddington's gonna win this, yeah. Also, shot. What? Denmark is one of the safest countries in the world to live in. 5th.
It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be shot with a gun. Blowguns and darts are a thing, you know. Bows and arrows. If you get hit with an arrow launched from a bow, it still technically gains shot.
Yeah, but
Crossbows also count.
oh my god, I don't think I've ever seen any sort of weapon with any sort of firepower in Denmark. Honestly, no, the police are not even allowed to walk around with firearms. They have to walk around with pepper spray and batons. And apparently,
Well,
that's good
if
enough.
you're gonna tell somebody the lucky numbers for the Powerball, and they get screwed over, that person's probably going to develop something just to shoot you out of agony.
I don't. Well, what? Firstly, what are the odds of them winning the lottery? And secondly, what are the odds of me just completely guessing the right number? Well, it is a guess, isn't it? You're not going to
Yeah,
win.
and
by
if you
doing
get it
something
wrong,
that's
which is
not
extremely
possible.
likely, they're probably going to do that to you.
So you're implying that if they got it wrong themselves, that they would also shoot themselves.
Well, I will say that there are a lot of people who don't enjoy their experience on this planet.
But, okay. Try to keep it happy. Currently, the gap between Wadder and Garbo is just over 2 seconds. If Waddington can stay within 3 seconds of Garbo, he will be the winner of the Australian Grand Prix, which would just be sensational.
The big question for Gabo, though, is can he make it to the end on this set of tires that he has?
I think Waddington's probably better than Freshers, but not 20 lap Waddingtons. I'm talking probably 6 lap, 7 lap Waddingtons, just because a little bit of the tread has run off in conditions that do look like they're. The track looks like it's getting a little bit drier, yet the rain looks like it's getting a little heavier, so I'm not sure what the game's doing with that one.
Well, I'll say this. I think it all comes down to if Gabo can just keep control. As long as you're able to put the power down coming out of the straightaways on acceleration, you'll be fine. We've seen Zola, who's honestly been one of the slowest drivers all day today. It's not matter because he's run an absolutely outstanding defense. Not even because of anything he's done. It's just been a matter of not screwing up putting the power down. As long as you're good enough putting the power down on these straightaways, you can hold the lead and there's nothing the people behind can do in the rain.
Will Garbo crack under the... Oh, that's a very late call for the safety car, isn't it? A very late call. That was
Yeah, we're going to go green. 6 laps to go. Very late call. And that works out well in Gabo's favor because he's able to keep about a 2/3 second gap over 19 coming to the green flag.
Yeah, it did not allow the grid to close up at all, did it? It's just go. As it stands, Wallington 1.5 seconds. Ooh, I don't know, but I did just see a lot of sparks flying off of the front wing of XX. If he made contact or not. What the hell? My game was lagging a little bit there.
19 might have bounced the front wing a bit off of some of the curbs, but he has already closed right in behind Gabo, putting pressure on him. 19 needs to maximize pressure on Gabo, and then the moment he gets by the Alfa Romeo, run like hell to outrun the time penalties he has.
And 3 more seconds of time penalties he has. That could prove crucial because he could lose out to Wallington. I almost feel like XX is going to lose out to Wallington at this point in the race. Fingers crossed it all goes well. And for all drivers, it looks like Torpedo is close to the back of Zola. Although as it stands, Torpedo is going to drop all the way down to P11, so not even inside the points, considering at one point he was over 12, 13, 14 seconds in the lead. That would be such a...
He's done a good job fighting his way up to the grid, but he's earned a lot of time penalties trying to do it, primarily fighting with Zola. Zola has been basically the equivalent of NASCAR's Robbie Gordon and Ryan Newman trying to overtake him. It's been absolute hell trying to overtake Zola all day today.
Yeah, I can't imagine pain for anyone being stuck behind Zola. Because, well, he just looks unpassable today, so props to Zola on the amazing defense. Alonso-esque. But yeah, he's only got like a couple tenth gap to Waddington at the moment, so... But then again, Zola has 9 seconds of penalties and Modo doesn't, so... I think time penalties could be very decisive come the checkered flag at the end of this
Ferrari! Race. Torpedo! Off circuit, trying to get by Zola! He saves the car before Raptor's able to capitalize, but again, Torpedo's chance to try and get by Zola is rebuffed by the McLaren.
This race is going to come right down to the wire. I have a feeling this battle for the lead isn't going to dissipate anytime soon. So it'll be interesting to see who wins this race. And whoever wins this race completely jumps out. And is that someone around, or no? It's just...
No, Jacob's fighting with Raptor.
Come on. Keep it clean, guys. Ooh, round the outside into the penultimate corner. Dips a wheel onto the grass. A very, very, very tricky place to go side by side. Yet they're still side by side. Amazing work from the two drivers. And so,
this should go in Raptor's favor, though.
The Haas just outdragged the McLaren in the stretch.
So now I have to wonder if maybe Zola and Raptor have radically different setups on that car, because no one's been able to outdrag, even come close to matching Zola in straight line speed, but Raptor is going to lose two positions when it comes to drag races on straightaways.
That is just very unfortunate for the American driver being outdragged by now 2 cars in the straight line. So I wonder what's going on. Maybe he's just running more of a wet setup than Zola. He's very good at developing hybrid setups, from what I've heard from other drivers. I don't use his setups.
Zola holds off Torpedo once more, but real quickly looking at Raptor, we know it's not fuel. Everyone's good on fuel to the end, so I don't know what the problem is that caused Raptor to lose those positions like that.
Intriguing. Certainly probably worrying for the McLaren driver, as now Smoothie 25 is only 2 tenths behind him. 1 tenth now. And yet Smoothie's gotten past the straight line. They're still side by side. Yeah. Oh, they're still side by side. They're going to go side by side again into the last 2 corners. Raptor doesn't like to give up his positions easily, as he gives Fletch a little bit of a tap. He could have the outside line, theoretically have a better exit, and Smoothie could still hold it, and Smooth just absolutely glides past the McLaren in the straight line.
At the front, 19 still within a third of a second of Gabo, still unable to do anything to the AlphaTauri up front. The AlphaTauri makes a bit of a mistake putting the power down, coming out of turn number 3, but he still holds the position.
This is bad. Oh, Raptor's round, and that's a big spin.
And Raptor, who with Matrix's accident had his best chance to put himself back in a championship contention, has now crashed. This will take him out of the championship hunt. More than likely, his title hopes may be over.
Yeah, only 5 rounds remaining in this championship, being actually
it's like 17 rounds.
Does XRL run to the same calendar as XRL? I'm not sure, to be honest.
They share some of the same track weekends, but because of what different time it started, there's going to be a lot of races that are totally different. So
yeah, fair enough. I think they are running pretty close to the XRL calendar at the moment. Although I'm not completely
Yeah,
sure.
at the moment, but once the current XRL calendar ends, they'll be catching up on a whole lot of races that would have been done way earlier normally.
Anyway, back
All right, coming
to
down, 2 laps to go.
the front of the grid. 19 still can't get past Garbo on Garbo's 36 now. And that old intermediate tyres that they can't be holding up that well for much longer, surely. But he only has to do 2 more laps, which I'm sure is music to his ears. The only time when anyone wants to hear Jeff is when he's saying last lap of the race. Yeah, sensational drive from Garbo on his old intermediate tyres, along with John and XIX, who've managed to work their way. Oh no, John is getting. No, sorry, John's down 1 position, but Wellington up 14 as it stands, and XIX up 6. So amazing drive from pretty much all of the top 10 drivers to not lose it, pretty much. Dave now the fastest lap of the race as he pops his... Yeah. Sorry, what are you doing?
Oh, geez, Torpedo got a great run on Zola, made a mistake, and now Jacob sneaks by Torpedo. We might not only see 2 Haas's in the top 10, we might see 2 Haas's in the top 6 by race end.
That would be an amazing finish for the Haas team. I know that Frisbee won the season opener. I'm not sure. Oh, and John.
And that's James John! One of your championship contenders, James John, has just had a massive accident! And he's out, coming to the white flag! This also will put Waddington in a position that Waddington might be able to win this race. Waddington is back to being within 3 seconds of Garbo now.
Waddington has been within 3 seconds of Garbo since the safety car restart, and now he doesn't have to contend with the dirty air of XIX. Just 16 more corners to go, and Waddington wins the Australian Grand Prix, but he has to keep within 3 seconds of Garbo to be able to do so, and Garbo certainly won't be holding any slack because he has XIX behind him, who I'm sure will be hungry to pass him. However, he does have 6 seconds of time penalty, so whether he'll battle, whether he'll decide to try and pull out a little bit more of a gap to help Garbo, we shall see come the checker flag. Half a lap to go now. Can Waddington keep within the podium position, keep within 3 seconds of... Oh,
19 has now just got another time penalty. That's not going to help him out whatsoever. In his championship fight, the way it's looking right now, it looks like Lowe's going to walk out of here with a great finish, potentially top 5.
Yeah, this will be probably top 4 perhaps. Even 4. Actually, no, it could even be. How close is Lowe to 3 seconds? He's close enough to XX to jump XX as it stands.
Coming to the checkers. Garbo and 19 are the first 2 across the line, but the winner here will be A. Waddington in the Haas. Garbo will come home second. Third is going to be Lowe. No, third's going to be Smoothie. Fourth is going to be Lowe. Fifth will be Ryan Hurricane. Sixth will be 19. Seventh will be Zola. Eighth will be Torpedo. Ninth will be Jacob. So both Haas's walk out here with points. 10th is going to be Dave Ewart. And 11th will be XRL Raptor.
What a drive from Waddington to win that from, I believe, what was P18, sorry, on the grid, to win around a track where it is virtually impossible to overtake. Amazing drive from the Haas driver.
Indeed, you could say that again for sure. Trying to get real quickly some of the other drivers that I want to talk with about a very interesting race, to say the least. But A. Waddington, well, you called it. You called it early on that you thought Waddington was going to win, and I'm like, nah, there's no way. Driver of the day, A. Waddington, yeah, I can agree with that.
I just thought I would go for absolute no way, I guess, and it just turned out to be true, so...
All right. Well, coming into the party right now is your race winner, A. Waddington. Waddington, congratulations. In the Haas, you walk out of here with a victory in the worst car on the grid at one of the most difficult circuits in extremely darn condemning circumstances. How in the world did you do that?
Well, I don't know. I thought it was over on lap 1. I'm sure Lou will agree. He sent a kamikaze dive bomb on me, and it gave me wing damage at the start. And yeah, no, it's fine. It happens. So yeah, I was just praying for a safety car at that point. Safety car came out, and then as I caught up to safety car, I boxed for a fresh set of inters, because my inters I'd done like 18 laps on them already when safety car came out, so I pitted for a fresh set. And then it was just about staying out of trouble and making my way through all traffic, avoiding all carnage that happened ahead. Yeah, I don't think I've ever sweated so hard for a race win.
Well, you had a prolonged fight with Jay Basjan for what looked like it was going to be the third position. Yeah. He spun off, coming to the white flag, and crashed out. Did you realize at that point that you had the win in hand?
I did. I couldn't before Jay Basjan spun out. I couldn't see the gap to Gabbo, and I was asking him Park, and then he told me what the gap is, because I know Gabbo had a 3-second penalty. Yeah, Jeebus went defensive. I think it was the last safety car restart, and I didn't want him to go defensive because it was just losing me time as well as him. So I'm kind of glad he bottled it in front of me actually. So I don't think I would have won otherwise.
All right. Well, the other good news for you, Waddington, both Haas drivers finally getting points in a race. Neither of you being Frisbee. Both of you have actually gotten points for the Haas. Outstanding. Do you think you'll be able to replicate this again at any point going forward in the season?
Maybe if there's a lot of safety cars, we'll have to see. I know Frisbee is currently out of action because his wheels broke, but once he comes back, I think he's going to be untouchable no matter what car he's in. You could put him in safety car and they'd still
win. That would be a race to watch.
Outstanding job, Waddington. Now, I also want to go ahead and turn our focus to XRL Low. Low, not a great run throughout qualifying, but you come back in the end, and you end up in the 4th place finish. Not only do you end up with a 4th place finish, you are way ahead of every single rival that you have in the championship by race end. What do you have to say about your race?
It's all right. Yeah. Yes.
All right, well, Low, with the championship leader not even finishing the race, with the 2nd place in the championship, well, one of the top 3, another one of the top 3 in the championship not even finishing, not one of the McLarens not finishing, the other McLaren barely in the points, another Ferrari barely in the points. You walked out here smelling like roses coming home 4th. Do you think you can say that with this point, you can turn your performance in the Alpine into consistent good finishes to season end? All right. Well, you definitely did a great job here today. Outstanding run finishing fourth. And once again, to both Haas drivers, outstanding job coming home first and ninth today.
Thank you. Good, man. Congrats to you also, dude.
All right. I really hope this doesn't end up like Montreal, where we have a Haas victory and then it gets stripped post-race. But anyways, all right. Well, definitely a very interesting race to say at least. Veloce, obviously, you weren't here the entire time, but biggest takeaways from the event from your perspective?
Biggest takeaway is that there was several championship contenders that are out, including Raptor, who was potentially in the fight still, John, who was potentially still in the fight, and then early on in the race, Matrix, who crashed out. I think the one big message to take away is if you're consistent, you can win anything in any car.
Yeah, indeed. And then the other thing that I would say is a big takeaway is that you cannot afford to make mistakes on restarts. Torpedo, without a doubt, the fastest man all day today, dominated the first 20-so laps of the event, spun out right after a restart, and it put him in behind the 8-ball until the very end. It's nightmarish because, again, Torpedo, one of your main championship contenders, absolutely devastating for not just his finish, but his points day as well. Well, with that in mind, there's not really a whole lot else to say. I've been your host for today's race, Insane Leader 13. I've been joined by XRL Veloce for today's broadcast. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. UK time on this channel will be the X1 race here in Australia. At the same time on the alternate channel will be the X3 race. At 8 p.m. UK time tomorrow, it will be the X2 race. The next realistic event will be next week, 8 p.m. UK time on this channel, and that will be at China. But until next time, I've been Insane Leader 13. Thanks for showing up and watching, and